arms ideology people coming into the UK and blaming them for all of the troubles that we see in the country at the moment.
A vote for the Reform Party could give Labour an enormous majority in early July. How the Conservative Party reacts is something Nigel Farage,
never say die,
is already second-guessing. Luke Hanrahan, Euronews, Skegness.
Yemen's Houthi rebels have claimed responsibility for missile attacks on 3 ships in the Arabian and Red Seas. The attacks were carried out using ballistic missiles and drones and all successfully hit their targets. A spokesperson for the group said the first attack in the Arabian Sea caused the ship to catch fire. The Houthis launched attacks on Red Sea shipping they believe is linked to Israel in November in solidarity with Palestine. A fire has broken out in the Brew cargo freight zone at Brussels Airport. Firefighters say the blaze started at around 4 p.m. local time. The cause of the fire and what was in the building where it started are still unknown. People living near the airport have been advised to remain indoors and keep their windows closed. But officials said it hadn't affected airport operations and passenger flights were departing and arriving normally. Spain's civil guard says it smashed one of Europe's biggest cocaine smuggling rings. Agents working on information from forces across Europe and South America launched a sting on Wednesday, seizing houses, cash and making several arrests. According to Europol, the arrests have disrupted a network behind a multi-ton cocaine trafficking operation from South America to the EU. The suspects reportedly exploited maritime shipping routes through hubs in West Africa and the Canary Islands.
The pilgrimage to Mecca, which every Muslim must perform at least once in their life as long as they have the physical and financial abilities to do so, began this Friday in Saudi Arabia. One of the 5 pillars of Islam, the Hajj is one of the largest religious gatherings in the world, this year overshadowed by the war in Gaza. But it is also a thriving economic opportunity in Saudi Arabia. Hotels, restaurants and shops around the Great Mosque are full.
الحركة التجارية تكون ممتازة ويكون الأسواق ممتازة ويكون الحجاج يعني يتقضوا هدايا من مكان مكرمة من أطهر بقاع الأرض فهم يشتروها من هنا عشان البركة.
More than 1.5 million pilgrims had arrived in the country on Tuesday. This year, the pilgrimage is expected to bring between 10 and 15 million euro to the country.
A street in The Hague has been painted orange as fans prepare for a month of football with the 2024 Euros. Marktweg is one of several streets in the Netherlands that get an all-encompassing orange facelift during European Championships and World Cups. A team of 10 volunteers spend 2 months painting the neighbourhood. The Netherlands national team is known as Oranje, the name of the Dutch royal family and the colour of their strips. The Tartan Army is out in force in Munich as Scotland faces Germany in the opening match of the 2024 Euros. It's the start of a month of football that will take place in 10 cities across Germany. Head coach Steve Clarke said he was confident his side would deliver the goods as Scotland looks to qualify for the knockout stages of a major tournament for the first time.
We believe we can get a result every time we go to the pitch, otherwise what's the point of going to the pitch? So we've prepared well, we think we're ready and hopefully you see that tomorrow night.
Scotland showed during the qualifying campaign it can surprise, beating Spain and Norway. But they've only won one of their last 13 matches against Germany, and that was more than 25 years ago, 1-0 in a friendly in 1999. Things were more muted in the Germany camp, possibly due to a series of recent defeats. Germany went out at the group stages of both the previous World Cups and were eliminated by England at Euro 2020.
Ich glaube schon, dass sie sehr unangenehm sein werden, aber auch spielerisch gut mithalten werden. Und dementsprechend gilt es definitiv, die Schotten nicht zu unterschätzen. Also ich habe großen Respekt vor ihnen, aber wir wissen natürlich auch, was wir können, dass wir extrem viele Qualitäten haben. Und wenn wir es schaffen, an unser Potenzial ranzukommen, dann bin ich sehr selbstbewusst auch zu sagen, dass wir das Spiel morgen gewinnen müssen.
And someone else who's confident of a win for the German side is Booby, an African elephant who lives in a reserve in Thuringia. She hoofed a ball upfield into a goal marked with the German flag, confidently predicting victory for Germany against Scotland. 24 teams from across Europe will play in a total of 51 matches before the final in Berlin on July the 14th.
We would prefer to get married in Poland, of course, but it's still impossible. We are in a relationship with each other about 30 years. There are many straight marriages that don't last so long. And in Poland, still it's impossible to recognize our relationship, even as civil partnership.
Mamy swoje prawo rodzinne, mamy swoje wartości społeczne. W tych wartościach społecznych obok tradycyjnego podejścia do rodziny jest również duża swoboda, jeżeli chodzi o szacunek dla tego, kto jak układa swoje życie. W związku z czym właściwie w tej chwili nie mamy w ogóle takiego tematu w debacie.
Jest zapowiedziana w tej chwili nowa ustawa regulująca związki partnerskie tak zwane, więc w tej chwili trwają prace nad wszystkimi rekomendacjami. Tym razem nie będą zarzucone prace nad tą ustawą.
Euronews is on the road to green. We're travelling across Europe to witness solutions to the environmental challenges we all face. Zero pollution, biodiversity restoration and the circular economy. These buzzwords are now becoming a reality.
Alors n'oubliez pas votre sac à dos et rejoignez-moi sur la route d'un monde plus vert.
Euronews. The news.
Russian President Vladimir Putin said a ceasefire could be brokered with Ukraine if Kyiv renounces its plans to join NATO and withdraws troops from areas annexed by Moscow.
Украинские войска должны быть полностью выведены из Донецкой, Луганской народных республик, Херсонской и Запорожской областей. Причем, обращаю внимание, именно со всей территории этих регионов в пределах их административных границ, которые существовали на момент их вхождения в Украину. Как только в Киеве заявят о том, что готовы к такому решению и начнут реальный вывод войск из этих регионов, а также официально уведомят об отказе от планов вступления в НАТО, с нашей стороны незамедлительно, буквально в ту же минуту, последует приказ прекратить огонь и начать переговоры.
Putin delivered the comments during a speech at the Russian Foreign Ministry in Moscow. Ukrainian and NATO officials have rejected the proposal, saying it is not a real offer for peace.
Pope Francis was welcomed by Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni in southern Italy, where the annual G7 summit is taking place. In a first for the Pope, Francis will address the leaders of the G7. He is expected to call for more safeguards on AI, following a boom in generative artificial intelligence. The second day of the summit was devoted to Africa, China, and AI. Right-wing leader Giorgia Meloni is known for her hardline stance on migration and is keen to increase investment and funding for African nations in order to reduce migration pressure on Europe. At the opening of the summit, the leaders also announced a $50 billion loan to Ukraine and an agreement on the use of frozen Russian assets to help Kyiv. The summit hosts leaders of leading industrialized nations and will last 3 days in the Italian region of Puglia.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has thanked the leaders of the G7 countries for agreeing to keep sanctioned Russian assets locked up until Moscow pays reparations for its invasion of Ukraine. That agreement has paved the way for a €46 billion loan package for Kyiv, funded by the interest earned on Russia's frozen central bank assets. Details are still being finalized, but those funds could reach Kyiv before the end of the year.
Головний результат для нас буде більше ППО для наших міст. Патріоти – це вже фактично українське слово. Буде більше техніки та інших необхідних речей для фронту. Вирішено і щодо використання російських активів на користь України і є перший вагомий крок «сімки» щодо $50 мільярдів. Дякую.
Security for Ukraine was also high on the agenda, and Zelensky ended the first day of the summit with 2 new accords signed with international partners. He signed a 10-year security agreement with US President Joe Biden that both sides hailed as a milestone.
With regard to the plan, that is a plan in process now. We're discussing with our Ukrainian friends exactly what it would be. We have a lot of movement toward that. We know the outlines of it. We have not done the detail of it all, but we know what Ukraine is capable of doing when given the material to defend themselves.
Zelensky also signed a 10-year security agreement with Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. That deal will see Tokyo release €4.1 billion to Ukraine this year to fund security, defense, and humanitarian aid. Zelensky referred to that deal, the first such agreement Ukraine has signed with a non-NATO country, as historic. But not everyone in southern Italy was happy. In nearby Brindisi, the No G7 group staged an anti-war rally in protest against the summit. And as G7 leaders made their way to a state dinner, protesters held what they called the Poor People's Dinner.
Hundreds of Cubans and tourists lined up to board a Russian warship on Thursday. The ship was part of a fleet that carried out military maneuvers in the Atlantic. Cuban and Russian authorities agreed to allow citizens access to the flagship, which arrived the day before, accompanied by a nuclear-powered submarine. children, women, and men of all ages awaited their turn.
Siempre he sido amante de todas estas cosas, me gusta ver los desfiles militares, todos esos acontecimientos, me gusta verlo y me gusta estar bien informado.
The chance to board ships of different nationalities arriving in the Bay of Havana is quite usual.
Es una visita nomás, no creo que es una amenaza para los Estados Unidos.
As for the Russian fleet, Cuban
Here.
authorities
All right.
confirmed
Hey yo,
that it
hey yo.
would be
Oh
docked in Havana
damn,
on
hello.
June the 17th. U.S. officials downplayed the danger of the visit, but said they would closely
Ho
follow
ho ho.
every
All right.
move of
Where
the
are we?
Russian
Where are we?
military
Where are we?
vessels.
How are we feeling? Hello, Westerners. Hello. Hello. It's not weekend for me yet. Weekend starts tomorrow at 1 in the afternoon, 2 in the afternoon, 2 possibly, because that's when I'll be finishing my job. But hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, how we been following the news? Have we seen Mick Wallace losing his seat? Because I saw Mick Wallace losing his seat. And it's basically the only thing on my mind right now. Mick Wallace lost his seat in the European Union Parliament, and my camera is very low. Both of these are a problem.
I think that reform.
Hey, yeah. Also, Croatia is playing tomorrow. Yeah, weekend does not start while I'm working. Alright, weekend does not start. Officially, weekend starts when I stop working. It's like a worldwide thing. I'm sorry you weren't made aware of this. But it is still not the weekend until I clock out. Actually official. How much beer you got? I got a lot. We also have a what's the word? There's a thing with a beer brand in Croatia where like you open the beer, proper beer, glass bottles. You open it and on the cap there's a code. You put in the code in a website and it gives you a prize. You collect a shitload of codes and you can get a fridge full of beer. So I'm kind of shooting for that. I'm liking the idea. I'm shooting for that. So I bought a lot of beers to, have enough codes to be prepared.
Dr. Veronica Lamarche is a social psychologist.
Craft Beer Festival, €90, 1 day ticket. Oh, that's quite expensive. Oh, that's quite expensive. For €90, you can take a little trip. You can take a little trip and go somewhere. My man, this is ridiculous.
People coming into the UK and blaming them for all of the
Alright, this is better. In the same group, we're playing Spain. We're playing, you know what's the fun thing? You know what's the fun thing? No, it's like too low. I don't never know if it's too high or too low. But I know it's insane. We're selling football shirts right now. We're like preparing, right? We got our glasses, we got our little glass thingies, see these? We got these, we got little headbands with little Croatia flags. So we got flags, actual flags we can buy outside. We got scarves. It's full on like hype. Here's the thing though. I remind people that football matches are starting and they're all like, yeah, football, heck yeah. And then I remind them we are playing with Spain on Saturday. And like you just see the hype kind of go down. The hype crumbles. The hype is lost. All right, they are reminded of Spain existing. The hype is lost. We are kind of hyped for beating Albania, but around Spain we are quite worried. So hope my man Modric won't be devastated. He could be. He's quite old. He's ancient. Like I really hope at this point I really hope we get a really good placement so he can go to pension. Because he's old as shit. My man's old as shit. He deserves pension. He deserves to rest. And he is not resting at all. I'd sell Modric his ass for slavery for extra ammunition for Ukraine. Look.
More than 1.5 million pilgrims had arrived in the country on Tuesday.
No, today. What's that proposal? Modric is on the field. He's good, right? He knows football. My man knows football. He knows what he's doing. Here's the thing. In Croatia, he is not as loved adored, respected. He is not as respected because of our internal conversations around corruption. He was in the center of quite a lot of corruption cases, intertwined ones. So basically like one big case, but a bunch of cases. Oh, Modric, sorry, I was like, oh yeah, possibly misspelled. I don't know who Modric is. I have no idea who that is. But I don't know why you would be doing that to one of your own. To one of ours, I can see that, like, fuck this little Croat. To one of your own, kind of seems cruel. But basically, Modric was in the middle of a very high corruption case. And listen, this man, he goes to court and they're like, do you remember getting a lot of cash money, like, outside of written contract? Do you remember being paid, but the payment in question was specifically not written down on paper? Like, you got the money illegally. Do you remember that? Are you aware that was a crime? And Modric just looks at the judge and he goes, oh, I don't remember. I don't remember getting that much money at all. And the judge is like, but we have evidence. Like, we have evidence of this transfer happening. We have evidence that you got this cash money. Are you not aware? Are you not aware that this was illegal? Did you not know this was illegal at the time? And Modric goes, oh, I don't remember getting money at all. I don't remember getting cash. I'm sorry, I don't remember. So all the questions later that he was asked, when did you sign specific deals? When did you transfer teams? He just goes, oh, I don't remember. None of it. I don't remember none of it. I don't know. So he kind of lost a lot of respect in the region because of that. It was like a pussy answer, you know. It was. We all knew we had a lot of corruption in Croatian football, to be fair. So it's not like anyone was surprised. It was just that he dealt with it by just being like, I don't remember. I genuinely don't remember anything. I don't know. Did I do a crime? Did I not do a crime? I don't remember. Like, what do you mean? The fuck do you mean you don't remember? At least defend your decisions that you made. Because we had other footballers at the same time, at the same trial, at least making good defenses. The defense was like, yeah, I did get the cash money on the side. That was just how it was done at the time, my dude. Like, we were corrupt as shit at the time. No one was writing their paperwork properly. Yes, I got cash by hand instead of having a proper document about it. That was what we were doing. Like, you wanna arrest me? Fucking arrest me. And it's a defense I can respect way more than the defense of, I don't remember getting millions. How the fuck do you not remember? How do you not remember? Like, I get like $10 from Twitch. I remember, alright? I fucking remember. You ask me, hey Vicky, did you last week get a $10 tip from someone watching you on Twitch? I'll be like, yeah. Fuck yeah. And you bitch doesn't remember millions? Impossible. Oh, where did I click? I was at one of those beer festivals with my girlfriend. We both were so wasted, it was ridiculous. Nice! I'm jealous. I didn't get to go to the last one we had here. But luckily craft beer is getting more and more popular in the area. So I'm like tasting it on the side. I go to random ass coffee shops or restaurants and they just have craft beer in offer. So, you know, I'm hoping that I'm gonna get to taste a lot of them regardless. The judge is always biased. That is true. There's a very common. What would it be called? Mantra here in Croatia, and it's that we played well, but the judge fucked us. And really, that's what's going to happen, alright? We're going to play well, and if we win, everything was fair, and if we lose, the judge fucked us. It's just that, alright? These are the only two options. So, you know, hope that we get to win. Do you remember getting cash money? Yeah, and he's like, no. How do you not remember? How do you not remember? Like, guys, come on. You got your last paycheck? Do you know when you got your last paycheck? I fucking know exactly when I got it. I remember the exact feeling I had opening up the email. Alright, it's because I was checking the emails for a bit, waiting for it to come. Of course I fucking remember every single paycheck. And you're telling me a man doesn't remember getting millions to fucking transfer from one team to another? Bullshit. Bullshit. Women's football, to be honest, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know men's football. I know nothing. I basically know nothing, alright? My football knowledge is like a communist's knowledge of history. Like non-existent, alright? I know nothing. I know several players that are really popular. That's that. I didn't know we were in a group with Spain until I looked up first match Euro 2024 on my phone a few days ago and saw that Croatia was playing with Spain. I don't know, truly. What I like about football is that Croatia is doing really, really well. Croatia is doing incredibly well. And I love the aesthetics of football in Croatia. I love how everyone's wearing checkered shit. I love how everyone has merch. I love how every single coffee shop sets up a huge TV outside just so everyone can watch the match being played. I love how if you are in any city or any really inhabited place, after we win, there's a bunch of cars just driving everywhere, honking. It's loud as fuck. There's fireworks. It's, you know, it's very fun. It's very, very entertaining. There's children wearing the football gear. There's dogs wearing the football gear. It's really, really fun to watch. So I like that. I like that about football very much. I'm not really a person who cares about like actual people who play football. So yeah, I don't know anything about women's football. Because I don't know anything about the dudes one. I'm not a sports person. I don't do sports. So you Mediterraneans are all about wine. I come from the family of winemakers. And when I was in my formative years of drinking, you know about this, right? Most of you are Europeans. I imagine you do the same thing we do here, which is like you start drinking when you're like 13, 14, 15. By the time you're 18, 19, you're basically done with that part of your life, right? When I was getting drunk as a teenager, I was getting drunk on wine because we had a lot of wine and it was like the price was all right. I always made my friends pay the price. I was sometimes bringing wine myself as like a free little treat, but very often my friends would just be buying the wine, so then we would go out drinking, you know. So we usually had a lot of wine, really. And after you get drunk from drinking wine that many times, it gets a bit old. It becomes a bit... So yeah, that turned me to beer. So now I'm a beer drinker basically, and then we'll see. I don't know. I like cocktails recently. I'm really into those like nice little cocktails. Colorful little thingies, especially if they're like fruity, really, really fruity, and the glasses are all nice and everything. I'm into that shit recently.
Yes, definitely will. I think that reform will take a lot of votes off the Tories.
Your team was judged badly, like since Mimanda Oshaka, so you can free feel to call referees biased. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's normally in football that there is ups and downs, depending how talented every generation is. Oh, you see, but now... Nah. No. We are actually Croatia itself is just like a golden generation after another golden generation. We're getting first place. I gotta be high on copium all the time. The children in kindergartens get to step on grapes and produce a small bottle of wine to bring home to their family. One part of that sentence is correct, and that is the one where children in kindergarten do get to step on grapes, actually. No one really steps on grapes that much, like it's not, now we have proper gear, we have proper equipment. Standing on them is like an old-time thing, but if you do have kids in family, usually they think it's fun. So you just do chunk them onto the grapes, and they do be stepping on them. You don't get a small bottle of wine, because a small bottle of wine in Croatia is an insult. A small bottle of rakia is alright. Like someone goes home and you give him that tiny bottle of rakia, that's fine. It should be a glass one. It shouldn't be a plastic one. But a small bottle of rakia is alright. A small bottle of wine, it's like you hate this part of your family and you want them gone from your life forever. Right? You don't do that. You give them a proper bottle. Usually, if the kid has been participating directly, what you give them is either one of those big, I don't know how you call them, huge thing for liquids. You give them that, but you give it to them like later, as a gift thing, as a thank you thing. Hey, you made wine with them, so here's a bunch of wine. Or even better, you give them a big nice bottle of sweet wine, we call it, which is wine when it's freshly made, but not, it didn't ferment. I don't know English words for this, but like the wine is in the process of being made, but it is not made. So what you get is basically really sweet grape juice with a tiny amount of alcohol. It doesn't get you as drunk as it will if you allow it to actually finish being the wine, right? So usually that is what you give to the kids, because there's a thing here where like, oh yeah, it doesn't have a lot of alcohol in it. A kid can't drink it. It's sweet. It's sweet. Why wouldn't they be able to do so? The bottle was small, insulting, fucking insulting. Just, I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine doing something like that with one of those like tiny bottles, half a liter, and just not getting that part of my family out of my existence. I cannot imagine.
The suspects reportedly exploited maritime shipping routes through hubs in West Africa and the Canary Islands.
Spain, Croatia. Spain, Croatia, they go.
At least once in their life, as long as they have the physical and financial abilities to do
looking
so.
Badass. Looking very, very badass.
One of the 5 pillars of Islam, the Hajj is one of the largest religious gatherings in the world.
Corruption of Rani Tudjman, and how did you win the war without an actor? To be fair,
hotels, restaurants, and shops around the Great Mosque are full.
it was tough. But we can thank the black market and the fact that weapons you get illegally is not weapons whose use anyone can restrict for you. You know what I mean? I think we can thank that. I think we can be very grateful for that, for holding on at the start until we managed to, you know, actually get the support of the foreigners. It was mostly just us being really, really corrupt and knowing the black market. Cocktails are the way to obesity. Isn't beer also though very high in calories, or am I wrong about that? I think beer is also very high in calories.
Orange facelift during European Championships and World Cups.
Alcoholic drinks with less calories.
Spent 2 months painting the neighborhood. The Netherlands national team is known as Oranje, the name of the Dutch royal family and the color of their strips.
Vodka, soda. White wine, hard seltzer, tequila with lime, light beer, gin and diet tonic, dry martini. Diet tonic is like I feel diet tonic is one of those things that if you drink
Head
it,
coach Steve Clark said he was confident
I
his
don't
side would
know
deliver
if
the
losing
goods as
weight
Scotland
is
looks
actually
to qualify
going
for
to
the knockout
help.
stages of a major
Right?
tournament
I
for
feel
the
if you
first
drink
time.
diet tonic, I feel you should just go and ask for psychological help instead of actually attempting to solve your body issues with a diet. Because diet tonic is sad. Diet tonic is sad.
Scotland
Diet
showed during
Coke,
the
alright.
qualifying campaign it can surprise, beating Spain
But
and
alright,
Norway.
diet
But
tonic?
they've only won
They
one of
just,
their
I
last
don't know.
13 matches
You
against
need some
Germany,
help.
and that
You got
was
some
more than
issues.
25 years ago, 1-0 in a
Hey,
friendly
Osai.
in 1999.
According to Germans, you can treat beer as a meal. To be
Things
fair,
were
though,
more muted
according
in
to
the
Germans,
Germany
you can
camp,
treat those
possibly
white
due to a
sausages as
series
a
of
meal.
recent defeats. Germany went out at the group stages of both
And
the
not as a crime
previous
against
World
humanity,
Cups
that
and
is.
were eliminated
So
by
I
England
don't
at
know
Euro
if we
2020.
talk about German food preferences and food knowledge. I don't know if I would take it seriously. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, according to Germans. Oh. Discarded opinion. Discarded opinion. Germans needed refugees to be coming from other countries into theirs to teach them how to eat proper food. Alright, you go to any street in Germany right now, you go and find me some fast food on German streets that is actually German. You will not find it. And you know why? Because German food kinda sucks balls. Yeah, kinda sucks humongous balls, alright? Like sweaty ones. One beer a day keeps the doctor away. Maybe because if you drink alcohol so consistently, I feel you're going to die rather soon, which will mean that a doctor is very unlikely to want to be in your presence because he will not be able to do shit at that point. But beer is meal that will end well for you. You could be losing weight though, I imagine. But you guys remember like a few streams ago we googled the calorie count on Coca-Cola, and it was, if you drink one big Coca-Cola, it has the same calorie count as like a huge meal, a proper meal, right? But I'm trying to... I can't imagine that if you're drinking, let's say you drink a humongous Coca-Cola every day. You drink one for breakfast, you drink one for lunch, you drink one for dinner. Would you actually be like staying on the same weight as if you are, if those calories are gotten from proper sources? Someone needs to test that. Wait, you like dark beers and you do research on cosmology? How are those two connected to that beer? I want to know. How is that connected?
The internet and the sharing economy.
11k steps per day, nice.
The creative process and making art.
Ooh. Coffee and dark chocolate notes. Oh, I bought one craft beer recently. It was like caramel. It wasn't. It lied to me. It was like, yeah, the hints of caramel in the beer, and I tasted the beer and it wasn't. So, I'm hoping next time I go and try to get a beer actually, like tasting like some shit, it's going to actually have slight taste of some shit. I don't know. We also got some fresh French beer in our stores today. It's not one of the craft ones. It's like a big brand one, but fresh. So ayo. There's a reason they call it a beer belly. But what I imagine is that people who have a beer belly are eating normal meals plus drinking beer. That's what I imagine. I don't know if they are. I don't know lots of people who are beer alcoholic. I do know people who are rakia alcoholic. Most of them have died. But yeah, beer alcoholic people. The same calories put on the same weight. Oh, so you wouldn't get like weirdly fucked up and losing weight from the fact that you're only taking basically sugar. It's just sugar, isn't that? Coca-Cola would be just sugar. I'm in Scotland, statistically the fattest people of Europe, inventors of the fried Mars bar. Oh.
Euro News. The news.
I like cold milk.
President Vladimir Putin said a
You deep
ceasefire
fry.
could be brokered with Ukraine.
You just deep fry a Mars bar?
Kyiv renounces its plans to join NATO and withdraws troops from areas annexed by Moscow.
Украинские войска должны быть полностью выведены из Донецкой, Луганской народных республик, Херсонской и Запорожской областей. Причем, обращаю внимание, именно со всей
this doesn't even look bad. That's not even bad looking. Like that's. I would not be disappointed. I guess. Nice though, nice. But yeah, I like cold milk, and you know what else I learned I like? Look at this piece of shit. Not him. Oat milk. I like oat milk. I think it's good. We got it recently in a local store. Like it wasn't an offer previously in these like village store types. So we got it in the local one, and I was like, let me see. And it's actually rather good, to be honest. Wouldn't be fully angry if it were a bit cheaper. And it really isn't. But I wouldn't be angry about like living solely of that one as the milk thing. Oh damn, Francis!
Following a boom in generative artificial intelligence.
Stronger guards on AI. Oh, I said this in chat already. I don't think he knows what AI is. I don't think he knows what.
Meloni is known for her hardline stance on migration and is keen to increase.
I'm not certain that he has any idea what he's saying, really.
In order to reduce migration pressure on Europe.
G7 though, based.
Summit, the leaders also announced a $50 billion.
You will make a mess no matter what you do.
And an agreement on the use of frozen Russian assets to help.
I happen to have been blessed with the genetics of not total losers. I don't have lactose intolerance at any degree. I feel,
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky
you know, chosen by Lord. I feel as if I was shaped by God himself. I'm just genuinely doing alright. Don't have it yet. I will never get it. Copium, alright? Fucking copium. Is it an American thing?
Details are still being finalized, but those funds could reach Kyiv before the end of the year.
Lactose intolerance. Where? Oh, here it is. African, Asian, Hispanic, and American Indian descent. What really? Damn. But yeah, I don't have it. I don't have it. Surprisingly though, there's been 3 people so far in my immediate surroundings, not family luckily, but they're not related to each other really, so it's rather weird, who have Crohn's disease. One of my family members, but not blood family, like I'm not actually related to the man, right? He died from it recently, and I've learned since then that 2 other people also have it. Apparently that's quite a lot of people in a relatively small amount of land to be having the same shit. So I don't know what we have about that. I don't know what that is. People are already making conspiracies about Serbs hitting us with bioweapons during the war, so...
Zelensky also signed a 10-year
might need to switch away from cow's milk permanently, with H5N1 infecting cows. Oh damn, yeah, that too. We're not really having panic about that in Europe. We're not really having panic about it at all here, but at the same time I would be alright with switching. I would be alright with switching, I've been, you know what's the thing?
Not everyone in southern Italy was happy.
As much as
In nearby
vegans are
Brindisi,
fun
the
to
No
be
G7 group
mocking,
staged
I
an
do
anti-war
think
rally in
that
protest against the
the
summit.
whole thing about,
And
oh
as
yeah, we
G7
do
leaders
need to
made their way
limit
to a state
animal
dinner,
produce
protesters held
consumption
what they
as much
called
as
the Poor
possible
People's Dinner.
for moral but also environmental reasons. I do kind of see the validity in the whole worldview. So what I've been doing in the last few years really is switching away from consuming meat to just more like non-meat options. And it's going all right. It's going all right fully. Still didn't switch properly. I don't really think I have the will to be switching properly, but I am limiting the consumption and I feel that's alright. So I would be absolutely fine with just not using cow's milk at all.
The chance to board ships of different nationalities arriving in the Bay of Havana
Didn't have
is
lactose
quite
intolerance, they're like
usual.
33. Oh damn, really? Oh. So it can actually. I always thought that like you gotta have some symptoms before. Never really looked it up though. No one I know has it. So I'm like, I'm not too knowledgeable. Fish, I'm not a big fish lover, which is a problem though, because fish would be like the easiest animal produce for me to turn away from. But have you guys seen the research on how healthy fish actually is for you? You're supposed to be consuming a lot more fish than you are consuming right now. You're supposed to be consuming a lot more of the good fatty acids that you have in fish than you are consuming right now. Sure, you can get supplements, but like, I know you're not getting supplements. I know no one's getting supplements. Right? Like every once in a while I want to get supplements because I'm not eating enough fish. It's generally like I just don't enjoy that much. So I want to get supplements and then sometimes I get them and I take them for like a week and then I forget and they just like stand in a drawer somewhere. So yeah, it's hard to switch, but try to be mindful of that because it's really, really good. 3 people think like you, probably end up with the same contribution as 2 vegans. Yeah, like that. So I think it's good. I think it's good. I've also been encouraging people to be buying. It's not really hard thing to do at all in Croatia, but like encouraging people to be more buying like local animal produce instead of, you know, buying it from the shops and just going to eat fast food, shit like that. And overall, it's like, I do think a lot of people are choosing to limit it recently. I don't know if they're doing it for the same reasons I am, but I do know there's a lot of limiting of it. Lots of conversations specifically about how old culture in Croatia was to be eating food without meat. Like we didn't eat meat. But the reason we didn't eat meat is that we were poor as shit. But the culture was basically no meat food for most of the week. You were allowed to have fish on a Friday because Friday is like a holy day and you're not supposed to be eating anything, I don't know, sinful. So you can have fish on a Friday and then on Sunday they would be having a huge meal where they would actually be having meat. It was like one meal per the entire week where people were actually having proper meat on their plate. And everyone was living all right. Like, it's not like anyone was missing it. It's not like people were unhealthy to any sort of a weird extent. Even like if you look at our health situation now, it's worse now when we are eating a lot of meat constantly than it used to be back when we were not eating a lot of it. So overall, yeah. Yeah, it's something Christianity. It's something Christianity, but look, I don't know exactly. My family never cared about the fish on Friday thing. We never really. My grandfather did try to get us scared. The only way he managed to get us to actually observe it was by making different fish-based meals every Friday. So he wasn't being like, oh, you can't eat meat today. But he was like, hey, I'm gonna prepare lunch today. And lunch is like fried fish or something, right? So it was like softly pushing you in that direction, kind of what I'm doing with family members, with pushing them into abandoning meat produce, you know? I'm like, hey, oh, we're at this shop right now. Oh, there's a sale on these vegan hamburgers. Oh, we should go and try this. Oh, there was recently a festival in the city. The one of our really famous dog shelters was holding it. So there was a festival and they were serving vegan food, and there was also Beyond Meat burgers. You know how good they are? It's actually really, really good, genuinely. But you know, I was like, hey, let's go and taste it. Let's go and try some food. Let's not eat lunch at home. Let's go and eat it there. Yeah, we're gonna pay for it, but like you're gonna taste something new. So it's like a soft push and it actually works. But yeah, also, you just genuinely, you're not going to miss meat that much. Mick Wallace, loving the recent developments in his career. Macron press conference. Oh, have you seen the new coalition of left-wingers in France? Because they actually seem rather based. Wait, there's probably no translation. I'm gonna need to find someone talking about it on Twitter. Fish is also meat, and she got confused, angry. My mother once pushed for the conversation about why fish is not meat, and yeah, it went nowhere. Basically, it went absolutely fucking nowhere. All right, so. I don't even know why it's not being... The way I see it, the rich people just wanted to eat fancy shit all days. So then it was like, oh yeah, we have to be fasting on this day, but like, we can't, right? Because we're spoiled brats. I can't be eating just plants on a Friday. That is very sad. So then they tried to make up excuses to still be eating something meaty, and then, you know, that was the fish. That was the fish. Wasn't it also for a while that they were trying to say some mammal is also a fish in order to be allowed to eat it?
And someone else who's confident of a win for the German side is Budi, an African elephant who lives in the reserve in Thuringia.
I can't remember talking to someone and they mentioned this, and I googled it, and I think that was a whole Wikipedia thing.
24 teams from across Europe will play in a total
hey, Friday Fast. That's what it is. Friday Fast.
The final in Berlin on July the 14th.
Oh, look at this! Look at this! Look at this! Orthodox Christians abstain from sexual relations on Wednesdays and Fridays throughout the year. Imagine that! Really? Imagine that! But like, did you guys know there is no such thing as a fish? Because there is no such thing as a fish, really. There's no fish. Most fishes that you can think of right now are one group that is lumped in the name of fish with other non-fish beings, just because the non-fish beings also live in the water as the fish do. It's making no sense. The current way that we classify fish, it makes no sense. It's basically like calling every air-dwelling animal a bird. It's like you see those gliding squirrels and whatever, and you're like, oh yeah, this is a bird. This is a bird because it's in the air for a while, so it has to be a bird. It's a fucking bird. I believe it was sharks specifically, that like there's no way to explain why a shark is a fish and not also make reason for a human being a fish. Like it makes no sense. A shark shouldn't be a fish, but he's a fish, but like he shouldn't be a fish. What was the animal? One day I'm going to remember what was the animal. One fucking day. I'm going to remember what it was. Black fast? Early form of Christian fasting. And then they had Lent. Oh, and then they started allowing you to eat meals. Oh no. Oh no, now it's alright. Now it's fine. Wasn't alright for a while, but suddenly I feel Jesus changed his opinion. They have a set number of meals that they are allowed to be eating. I didn't even know that. There's a set number of meals.
Euro News.
Many people are considering French fries with bacon vegetarian.
Russian President
Oh, that's
Vladimir
right. It reminds me
Putin
of.
said there could be an
I had a
end to
friend
war
in
Ukraine if
high
Kyiv
school, and
agrees
she was
to
like a
send
vegetarian for, you know, a period. I went to
Pope
art school,
Francis
had some
joins
interesting
world
people.
leaders on the second day of
So
the
she was
G7
vegetarian,
summit.
but when there was nothing to eat in the school bakery, she would buy this one like. It was like a little bread, and it had like chicken meat in it, right? And she was like, it doesn't technically count. It doesn't technically count because there's not a lot of it, and it's not fatty. It's not as fatty as it would be if it had like pork or something. So technically, like it's a better choice than eating something plain that is boring. You eat something that actually tastes good, but it doesn't count as actually a non-vegetarian meal because it's not fatty. So yeah. Sorry, wifey. It's Wednesday. You think I was sorry, wifey? I'm pretty sure the people using that are not the are not the husband. I'm pretty sure. Learned a story today about villages of ours. They had 12 kids. They had 12 kids. The reason why they had 12 kids is because the husband wanted to have 12 kids and the wife wasn't asked at all. And we don't know how many kids he had in other parts of the country because he was one of those men who like travel a lot for work and then they come home for a while, and every time he came home he would like make a new kid and then just go to travel again. I'm pretty sure if anyone made the rule no sex on Wednesdays and Fridays, it was the wives, so they could be having some peace. But by the way, we have to go through my news. One of them being the fact that Mick Wallace lost his seat in the European Union Parliament. Fucking loser. Genuinely, I was very happy to see that. I was very, very happy to see that. So, ooh, what is this?
Right-wing leader Giorgia Meloni is known for her hardline stance on migration.
Genuinely happy to learn that they kicked him out. They kicked both him and Dali out. As far as I've seen, most people left in the Irish part of the parliament are actually normal, so that's going to be interesting to see. We have a lot of stories about Putin and his supposed peace deal. I don't know why it's being carried around as much as it is, but yeah, for some reason a lot of people are posting about it. He set some ridiculous demands. He wants the entirety of Zaporizhia that he doesn't even control. He wants Kherson that he's also not even controlling. That I don't know what's in his mind. I did see, where did I save my bookmarks? I did see the good Russian saying that he believes this is actually Russia losing more of its power, because it's interesting that he's making these proposals now after he has given a speech to Russians and it has not been received well. Here he is. It has not been received well. Not by Russians, not by allies of Russia. It just is not being received well. He seems to be losing his reputation. So I'm kind of happy for that. I hope it's true. I'm hoping. And yeah, I am hoping that the entire proposal gets mocked as, you know, it should be getting mocked, because it's a ridiculous little thing.
Like many English coastal communities,
Sweden Democrat left the Swedish parliament after being filmed singing Ausländer raus. Oh man, what? Who? What?
Immigration remains a key issue. But many are now turning to the Labour Party for answers, while others shift further right.
It's day one, Saturday. Ground campaign begins today.
Nigel Farage's Reform Party is gaining traction among former Conservative voters.
Which town we looked at,
Do you think we can go Swedish politics specifically?
And so you'll be voting for reform? Yes, I definitely will.
I think that reform will take a lot of votes off the Tories.
Why?
Which will probably result in a Labour victory.
And how will you be voting?
There you go. Oh, David Lang.
In terms of Nigel Farage, does he appeal to you at all?
Mr Farage, I think he's a bit of a, I don't know. A clown? I think it's just, oh yes, there's a bit of bravado with him. I beat my chest and, you know, and stuff like that.
Skegness
I don't know
is
what
a
I'm saying.
typical eastern coastal community, and it mirrors
I
the
just agreed to
trend
something.
across
I don't know what it
England's
is.
coastline.
They're gonna sell my data?
77%
Possible.
Tory at the last election, it's
He had
now
to resign
leaning
after
Labour.
singing
Right
Ausländer
wingers here
aus.
are handing
Not
the
because
seat
it
to
was
Labour by
racist. The
splitting
problem was the
vote
comically
between
bad
the Conservatives
timing.
and Nigel Farage's Reform
Did the
Party.
Swedish
The most
Democrats
recent poll
fire
shows
him
Labour
because
at
he sang a
45%, the
racist
Tories at
rhyme,
22%,
or because the
and
rhyme
Reform
was caught
at
on
13%.
tape? I have now
So
pondered
is
over
this
that question
likely
for
to
several
push the
days.
Conservative Party further right beyond
Really?
the general election?
Several days of
The
like.
future could rest on the success of a now likely
I
Labour government.
what do you mean you're wondering? Haven't their policies towards immigrants been abhorrent for a while? What do you mean I've been pondering
Dr.
over this
Veronica
question for a
Lamarche
few
is a
days?
social
What's there to think
psychologist
about?
at the University of Essex who studied British right-wing populism.
I think Nigel Farage
What is there to think about?
picture of what the future of
Oh, I have to pay for this one. I am paying. I have no cash money.
People coming into the UK and blaming them for all the troubles that we see in the country.
I'm guessing.
A vote for the Reform Party
I want
could
to
give
know
Labour
if it's.
an
I'm
enormous
imagining
majority
it as a
in early
chant, really, but I have no
How the
idea what it is.
Conservative Party
I have no
reacts
idea what it is.
something
I know there was a
Nigel
video of those German kids also doing the Ausländer out shit. Never actually saw it, to be honest. I never saw the damn video. I saw it screenshotted with like titles. Never actually saw the damn thing. I don't know what it is. German version of that old hit where they changed the lyrics to be racist. Ah. See, that's why Germans deserve to be run over by foreigners. To make Germany into a proper country. By the way, I saved a bunch of videos. I have to show you my bunch of videos. I have to show you my shit. I saved a video on the Nordics. But why the left did so well there? Because it was surprisingly a good result. Not really expected. Also talking about that. Oh, give me a sec.
Few days about the rise of the right, Macron's snap election gamble, and the chaos surrounding Germany's AfD.
I'm being ignored.
Really ought to take a closer
I am
look
being
at
absolutely
is the
ignored. Give me a
Nordics.
second.
The results of the European parliamentary elections show that Denmark, Sweden, and Finland all went against the grain, with centre and far-right parties actually losing vote share compared to 2019, and left-wing Green and far-left parties all making gains. So in this video, we'll take a look at the EU election results from Denmark, Sweden and Finland, and consider why the left did surprisingly well.
Still being ignored.
Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider
I won't be
subscribing and
subscribing.
ringing the bell to stay in the loop and be notified
Oh,
when
okay,
we
it's not too
release
long.
new videos. Let's start with a quick recap of the results. Starting with Sweden. According to provisional results, out of 21 seats, 10 went to the left, 3 to the centre
volume.
and 8 to the right. On the left, 2 seats went to the Left Party, which
Like
sits
this?
in the EU's left group, 3 to the Swedish Greens,
It
who are
always
in
shows
the
up
Green
in
group,
the yellows for me,
5
and
to
then
the
I never
Social
know
Democrats, who are, you
if it's
guessed
like
it,
proper yellow
in the
or not.
Socialists and Democrats group. This meant Sweden had the most left-leaning results of any EU country, giving just under half, or 47.6%, of its total seat allocation to left-wing and Green parties.
På vår skärm resultatet. Alltså valmyndigheten som sammanställer alla röster. Men där kommer det, och det visar att alla partier klarar sig kvar.
For comparison, overall, left-wing and Green parties took just under a third, or 31.2%, of seats in the chamber. In Denmark, which had 15 seats available, the Green Left Party, which sits in the Green group, actually came out on top, winning 3 seats. The Social Democrats came second, winning 3 seats, and the Green Red Party, which sits in the EU's left bloc,
Lee
also
Anderson,
won a
who is that?
seat.
Is she cool?
This meant that, overall, 7 seats went to the left, 4 to the centre, and 3 to the right, with the remaining seat going to an unaffiliated MEP. In Finland, which also has 15 MEPs, while the centrist National Coalition came first, there was a particularly strong showing by the Left Party, which came second with 17% of the vote and 3 seats. Conversely, there was a particularly weak showing by the Finns Party, often described in the media as far-right, which saw its vote share roughly halved and won just 1 seat. Overall, 7 seats went to the left, 3 to the centre and 5 to the right. This put Denmark and Finland a close joint second behind Sweden for the most left-wing results in Europe.
All right, wait,
So
she's actually
what
cool.
explains the Nordics' leftward tilt?
Oh,
Well,
my man,
this is
I was worried
obviously
because she's a
difficult
leftist.
question,
Hey,
and
yo,
there will be
DB!
nation-specific
She's a
reasons,
leftist,
but there
and
are
she
some
has
common
something
themes.
education
The first
relating
is
to
turnout.
Russian.
Turnout across the Nordics was relatively low.
Academic
especially
minor in
compared
Russian
to
language and
turnout for
culture, and I
national
was like,
elections. And it's plausible that this helped the left.
But no, she's
because
actually cool.
left-wing
She actually
voters,
supports
and
Ukraine, so that's
especially
cool.
Green voters,
She
were
said that the left
disproportionately likely to turn
must
out.
clean out
For
members
example,
who
in
oppose
Denmark, the
support for
Socialist
Ukraine.
Green Left Party finished first in the EU election, with a 17.4% vote share, gaining 1 seat, while only managing 8.3% in the 2022 national election.
Nice.
Similarly, one of the biggest surprises from the EU election was the Swedish Greens leapfrogging the far-right Swedish Democrats into 3rd place, finishing on 13.8%, a huge jump up from the 5.1% they registered in the 2022 general election. This might suggest that left-wing and Green voters in these countries care more than those on the right about the European elections. This is something Finn's party leader, Riikka Purra, said when trying to explain her
What's Sanna doing now?
claiming that Finn's voters saw the European elections, if not negatively, then indifferently. The second is the fact that migration, which is a driver of right-wing support elsewhere in Europe, was less of an issue in the Nordics this year. Partly, this
Strategic
is
advisor on political leaders' reform programs in the Tony Blair Institute.
Italy, France and Germany, but also because
Strategical
migration policy is
advisor
generally
on
less
political
of a
leaders'
issue
reform
in the
programs.
Nordics, with a general left-right agreement on the need for strict migration rules. For example, the centre-left Danish Social Democrats, who were re-elected in 2022, has pursued a remarkably restrictive migration policy renowned for its strict integration programme and difficult citizenship process. Something true is similar in Sweden, where the centre-left Social Democrats have significantly tightened immigration and integration rules.
Oh,
With Kurdish-born
she
MP
is,
Lauren
look,
Radar
check this
saying
out.
citizens who are Swedish on
She's
paper
working in a
also have to be,
steering
quote,
committee,
Swedish at
International Task
Third
Force
reason we
on
can see,
Security
though,
and
is that Nordic
Euro-Atlantic
countries have
Integration
already, in
of
a way,
Ukraine.
been vaccinated against the far
The
right.
steering
In other
committee's
words, in many of
primary
these countries, the
objective
far
is to
right has
develop
already
a
been in
strategy
government.
for
It's not
Ukraine's
so much that
closer
they've
engagement
necessarily
with
been
the
ineffective,
Euro-Atlantic
but rather
security
that they've
area.
often failed to deliver
The
on their
group
more
is led
radical
by
policies,
Andriy
and
Yermak.
participating in coalition governments has apparently
cool.
undermined their anti-establishment credentials.
Boris Johnson
In
and
Finland, for
Hillary
instance,
Clinton
the
are
Finns
members
control
of the
the
group.
finance ministry, and they've
Sanna
now
Marin is
overseen
playing
9
with the big
billion
boys. I
euros
like
of
this.
austerity-esque
I like
spending
this. I
cuts
hope she is
in the past
successful.
2 years. Even if the Finns still talk a tough game on immigration, this has obviously made them less popular. The fourth and final reason is that left-wing parties in the Nordics have some good politicians. In Denmark, the leader of the Green Left, Pia Olsen Dyhr, is generally regarded as having turned the party's fortunes around since she took over 10 years ago. Similarly, in Finland, Li Andersson, the leader of the Socialist Left Alliance, is a former minister and presidential candidate who successfully raised her party's profile and is generally well liked.
Nice.
Andersson actually received more votes personally than any Finnish candidate has ever received in a European election, outpolling the total candidate list for each of the Finnish centre-left and the Green League. So, after all of that, what's left to say?
Is she doing
Well,
something
you could say that
specific?
the 3 Nordic countries have bucked the trend of the European
Because that's
right,
impressive.
doing well right across the continent, and that's clearly true in a sense.
Like, we
But
have
what the Nordic
politicians who are
experience
really,
also
really
reminds
useful
us
in
of
the
is the
European
fact
Union
that the
Parliament,
EU is more
and they still didn't
heterogeneous
get
than the media
that much of the
often
votes.
suggests. And when we talk about the EU shifting right or the EU's far-right surge, we're often confusing contingent events in a handful of countries with a continent-wide trend. Now, understanding exactly what has or is going to happen here can be a little tricky, requiring you to evaluate lots of information from different, often
now he's
partial
going into the ad.
sources.
Now
It would
he's
be
going
sensible
into the ad. But nice, nice. No one wants war, but war exists. And we must be sure being on the right side of history. That seems well. No centrist pro-Russia party, only far right and far left. Yeah, same here. We do have the president who is on paper not affiliated with any party, but he is affiliated with the center left. He is a bit of an idiot on the issue. A lot of an idiot on the issue. He is not really aware of what he is saying. But yeah, when it comes to the rest, it is just the far ones. It is just the extreme ones every single time so far. She's smart and knows hardcore issues. Also a very likable person. Actually, you know what I feel? I feel that leftists who are not scared of talking about important issues, I feel they would be managing to gain way more votes than the far right or far left on this on these elections. I feel the problem is that they tend to usually just ignore the entire conversation. Not even just leftists, but like people in the center, people in the normal part of politics. They tend to be avoiding the conversation overall. Because I've spoken to quite a lot of people regarding the European Union elections when I was trying to push them into voting. You would be surprised how many people genuinely believe that the far right is the only part of politics that wants to do something about immigration, illegal immigration into our countries. Genuinely, like, only the far right. People don't know that other political parties and groups are even making any sort of proposals when it comes to this. They think it's only and solely the far right. And I think it's because far right is not really running away from the conversation. It's like embracing it, even, going balls deep into just racism. But they're not running away from the conversation. So it, kind of gets remembered by the voters a lot. And then you have centrists just being like, yeah, we will propose policies, but we don't need to acknowledge these, really, do we? And then it creates the idea in people's minds that they're not really doing anything. The president is not executed, you're parliamentary. Yeah, that, not executive. Yeah, we are a parliamentary republic. The president does have some powers, but they are rather limited. We had a semi-presidential system until, I believe it was 2001, but I'm not sure. So we had a semi-presidential one, and then we switched to a proper parliamentary, which is something that I support. He doesn't have a lot of power, that is true, but he does have power in certain crucial areas, which is a big problem for us. Like he has power regarding the military, for example, which is not really the best thing, but put it to open. Oh, cool. Oh, Estonian Center Party. From the basis of the Popular Front of Estonia. Support a strike. Oh man. Oh man. All right. Left-wing populist element and social liberalism. Potentially allying with EKRE. Oh. It was supported by up to 75% of ethnic non-Estonians. That makes me a bit worried. But hey, have you seen? Wait, I said the bookmarks on this. Here it is. The Frenchies have a new... how is it called in English? New Popular Front. The Frenchies have a new one, New Popular Front. It's a left-wing alliance made like a few days ago. What day is today? 4 days ago. Made 4 days ago in response to the snap elections in France. And they're actually alrightish. They actually seem alrightish, surprisingly, from, leftists. So it's going to be interesting what happens here. They did get criticized by some other French politicians, though, being called irrelevant, basically, and the accusation is that they will not be making any sort of a change, really, on the political landscape. So it's going to be interesting to see, but what I do know is that they seem rather promising maybe. Finland was semi-presidential up until 2000, then they became parliamentary. One powerful person, Kekkonen, yeah, made history of Finland during Cold War. Yeah, true. We need political parties to be not balls deep, but just the tip into immigration reform. But you see, I feel like that is a bit of a problem in the first place. Because, like, they do just the tip thing. They do that... What's that Mormon thing? Is it a Mormon thing? Where you push the penis in, and then you just, like, lay there calmly so it doesn't count as fucking. I feel that's what they're doing with the immigration reform thing. And the problem is that an average voter in your country is a bit of a dumbass. An average voter in your country is a bit of a clown. They don't know. So if a party is that softly into the conversation, they don't know the party is even talking about immigration, you know? They're not aware of it. They will be going around being like, why are left-wingers not talking about immigration? And then you're like, they are. And they go, no, they're not. I'm not seeing them be racist on evening news. Because that is how they learn information about what's going on in the government, you know? They look at evening news and then they just remember a few loudest people from it. So I don't feel our century should be doing just the tip approach to it. I feel they should be doing a proper, strong approach to the conversation. I am, though, kind of disappointed that they're not really
Smaller companies don't.
into it.
Aims to simplify this.
It's a bit sad, really. It's a bit sad. Because I feel they're losing ground that they don't need to be losing. By announcing the snap election. Oh, there was a whole thing. There was a whole thing explaining the reason why he did the snap elections. But the basis of it is he tried to cause chaos. Because he knew Le Pen is not prepared for him to announce the snap elections. He tried to cause chaos because he believed that this was his chance of actually, you know, his party staying in power, rather than waiting for actual elections, which gives Le Pen enough time to form a strong enough coalition of right-wingers. So I have hope in the Frenchies. Alright, I kind of have hope in Frenchies, as much as I think lots of their people are clowns for voting for Le Pen. I have hope in them. I don't believe they're gonna go full right-wing. Either the left will crush the right in the second round of elections, or he will humiliate the right of the government if they win. In time for the 2027 presidential elections. Yeah, I've seen that too. Or Le Pen can win a landslide. Yeah, but like even if she wins, he's still the president. He's still the president. So as the president, he's still gonna stay in power. He has the ability to just be poking holes in whatever they do. He has the ability to go full populist and to just mock them for any single problem that they do. And then he gets the ability to stay in power more, because no one's gonna want clowns in the government more, because clowns already fucking up. How can he be a president? It's not presidential elections. It's not the presidential elections.
Research centres like this are vital to allow Europe to innovate and compete.
Presidential elections are not the same thing as parliamentary elections.
This sector and others to fulfill their potential. See you next time.
So he's staying the president. He's not going to be replaced if the parliament is replaced. Hey, yeah, Gabriel. Macron knows Le Pen program is crazy. There's no money for doing all that idiotic shit. Macron wants France to see if their program is bullshit and they cannot govern. Yeah, like any far right. Like any far right, really. They're unable to do anything good. No far right groups have good policies. They are getting votes on populism and populism only. They're getting votes because they are the opposition party. So people see them bitching in the corner. They're like, I like this dude bitching in the corner. I want him to be having ability to bitch more because I agree with his bitchery, right? So basically, if Le Pen wins, what's happening is a person bitching in the corner is given power to govern over the land. She's going to be unable to do it. She has no idea what she is doing. She is going to fail, absolutely, as any far-right again would. They are not able to be governing. People are tired of mass immigration. That is the main reason they choose far-right. To be fair, I disagree. I disagree. I don't think that people are tired of mass immigration and that they choose the far right for this. Though France might be a particular, possibly exception to the rule, because France did suffer a lot of terrorist attacks during one time, and I do believe that like Frenchies are a bit more valid in their worries. But here's the thing, I fully believe that people chose the far right because of the propaganda that the far right is spewing. I don't believe it's an actual issue with anything. It's like with Germany. If you look at the parts of Germany that voted for AfD the most, these are not the parts of Germany that have the most refugees, right? These are not the parts of Germany that have been getting most people from the Middle East, which is what AfD hates, right? Parts that vote AfD are not parts where Syrian refugees, for example, reside in biggest numbers. They're not parts of Germany where Afghani refugees reside in bigger numbers. Because it's not about refugees. It's not about people's interactions with refugees. It is only and solely about propaganda that the far right is spewing. Immigration did not make it to the top 10 list of most important questions. Yeah, based, because it genuinely isn't even that big of a thing. If you look at the statistics, it genuinely isn't that big of a thing recently at all. It's only and solely a very easy thing to make into a big problem using populism. Now, of course, you do have some countries where the situation is a bit different. I would say even like Poland, if you look at Polish political landscape right now, I understand that immigration, specifically regarding Poland and specifically regarding Polish border with Belarus, would be one of the very important issues for who they're going to be voting for in Poland. And it would be a valid reason too. It would be a valid reason. And I do believe that people who actually live close to the border with Belarus, are going to be the same people voting for political parties that argue that we should just close the border fully and never allow anyone from Belarus to be entering. But this is simply not something that you're seeing in many other European Union countries, right? Like we got a lot of far-right personalities in Croatia bitching about immigration. We don't have any sort of an issue with immigration. We have nothing really. There's not that many refugees who want to be residing in Croatia. Small numbers that we do have are just living their lives. They're just normal people. We mostly have actual legal workers. So people who applied here for a job and got a job permit, now they work on a construction or whatever, which is not a problem for the country at all, in any sort of a way, really. So what you just get is people who already are racist falling for the racist propaganda of the far right, mostly being the population replacement, so they go and vote for them. But the immigration conversation isn't to any sort of extent a problem for Croatia. And it isn't to any sort of extent a problem for Eastern Germany. Yet you see Eastern Germany voting for far right. It's because of propaganda. Putin wants Belarus to join the war? I mean, they are. I feel Belarus was a part of this war from the first moment where they allowed Russians to be using their land to cross over and to go into Ukraine. Belarus has been a part of this war, but were they also cooperating with Russians on kidnapping Ukrainian children? Like, Belarus is already a part of this war, really. The invaders should be deported. Yes, I agree, Russian invaders on Ukrainian land should be deported back to Russia, absolutely. Belarus army is the hot shit. That's true. That's true. They do offer like territorial advantage though. They're allowing Russia to strike Ukraine over much of a wider area. But yeah, apart from that, Middle East, yeah, there's no... I don't know if you like tuned out, if that one brain cell in your head was asleep for the last 10 minutes. But I already went through why I think that stance is bullshit, so yeah.
Euro News.
Shouldn't have torn that wall through. True.
Russian President
Firefights between
Vladimir
Ukrainians and
Putin said
Belarusian
there
forces.
could be
Ah,
an
could be that
end to
too.
Ukraine if Kyiv agreed to serve
Not sure
France.
personally, but I do know that they definitely
Pope
allowed Russians to be
Francis
using
joins world
Belarusian
leaders
territory,
on the
they allowed
second day
Wagner
of
to
the
be using
G7
Belarusian
summit.
territory, and they were directly involved in kidnapping of Ukrainian children by Russia.
Nigel
So,
Farage's Reform Party gains traction
they already do
among
the most they
former
can to commit
Conservative
to war, yeah,
voters.
definitely. I don't believe Belarusians would allow their own country to be doing a lot more, to be fair. But yeah, again, this piece of shit. We're just not gonna be doing that. Not gonna be watching that. Oh, by the way, before I show you this, before we watch Arthur to see what he is talking about, have I saved this? Have you guys seen the update? Okay, first talking about Belarus. I will never visit Belarus again as long as Alexander Lukashenko is president. I declare, starting from this moment, no official representative of Armenia will visit Belarus. Come on. So CSO is crumbling, as it should. CSO is crumbling, but I had better news. And I don't know if I saved it or not. Because the post was from the official Russian embassy. And I was like, do I want to save this trash? Do I not want to? Hey, by the way, new vatnik soup. So I'm gonna be going through the new vatnik soup. Yeah, I'm gonna find it one day. But what's basically ongoing is... Oh, they also have celebrated the Russia Day in Syria. Don't know if you saw that, but they celebrated the Russia Day in Syria. Did you know that? Did you know Russian is mandatory in schools in Syria? Do you have any fucking idea about that? It's mandatory. In fucking Syria. You're aware how ridiculous that sounds? Because I had no idea about it. But yeah, if you go to like private schools or shit like that, you don't have to learn it. But when it comes to public schools, yeah, it's just that. You're just fucking learning Russian. Why are you learning Russian? Who the hell knows? I don't know what's it supposed to be used for. But yeah, you're having to learn it. Can we start supporting Armenia instead of Erdogan and his evil Azeri minion? I think the problem with Erdogan is that his country is in a really, really, really good position. It's in a really good position. So we kind of need him. We kind of need them. Also, don't know if you saw this. But we kind of need Turkey on our side. So it's a bit of a problematic thing. It's a bit of a complex little thing where you're like, oh, damn, this man is a piece of shit, but the piece of shit is located really, really well, and we really could use his assistance, you know what I mean? With Azerbaijan, the thing with Azerbaijan specifically, I feel the problem was, I guess you know it, but the problem was the fact that Azerbaijan was seen as the Western linked part, while Armenia was the Eastern linked part. Like Armenia was a CSTO member. So Armenia being backed by CSTO meant that Azerbaijan was supported by the Westerners. And I think when the war broke out recently and when Armenia was betrayed by Russia and then Armenia started seeking out allies elsewhere, it was a rather tough move for the West to make in changing their allegiance to Armenia now. So I think it's going to definitely be a big move if they do decide to switch it up completely. Some of this video, some of what video? Well, like the basis of philosophy? Why? Is it related to something you wish to discuss? Hey, Draco! Russian documents that in the next 10 years they planned annexation. What? Of Belarus into Russia? Or did I read some fake news? I haven't heard about it a lot. But I do know that... what's his name? Lukashenko. Lukashenko did believe at least, that that is Putin's plan. He did believe Putin is planning to just destroy Belarus as a sovereign state and fully make it a vassal state of Russia. That is why they had a big fight a few years ago, and then, you know, Lukashenko turned back to Putin when there were big protests in Belarus against him. We will continue to work with our Armenian friends. Of course, we will find out their location. We hope to maintain partnership and alliance relations in any case. Oh yeah, well, Peskov. Oh great, they sent Peskov there. One of the most useless people in the history of the universe. Like, his word is just worth nothing. His word is worth nothing. I don't know why they're even making Peskov say anything. It's at this point, it's like Putin, really? You know, like when you see Putin and just no matter what he says, you treat it as some drunkard on the street babbling. Nothing he says is serious. Nothing he says is worth listening to. It's like that with Peskov. Just absolutely useless. Yeah, kind of like with CSTO. Yeah. Like, why they're sending Peskov to do their press conferences? At least send someone who isn't known for being trash. At least send someone that we don't know about some shit. Why would you say Peskov? You rather have Turkey as your friend than enemy? Yeah, definitely. Can't we do a Putin and give back Constantinople to the Greeks? I feel we might not want to do a Putin for observing how the OG Putin doing the Putin is doing. I feel we might not be wanting to do Putin. Wait, though, where was I? What did I want to click on? What did I want to click on? This Ukraine with humongous balls. Let me show you my vids though. Let me show you my vids. Union State Supranational Union. Yeah, like that. Because the thing was.
So
Wait,
happy Friday to you.
Lukashenko's intention was to gain great power, becoming president of a future Russia-Belarus Federation after Yeltsin's demise. However, after Yeltsin resigned, Putin was elected to succeed him as the Russian president. I do remember it was like 2000 some. It was the time when Lukashenko had a speech in Belarusian. Like, it was a huge thing. It was a huge thing. Shocking. Belarusian president speaks Belarusian because he considers it to be a lowly language. He considers it to be a language of the peasants, basically, because he's usually speaking Russian. But he had not really a fight with Putin. More so, he has acknowledged that Putin is trying to take sovereignty away from Belarus and to make it into a Russian vassal state. So he tried to move away from Putin. I also think a part of this was his attempt to just stay in power, because I guess he learned how unpopular Putin is, or was at the time. So he was like, yeah, I'm just cutting ties with him, and then maybe when I cut some ties with him, they allow me to remain the dictator of this country until the day I die. And Belarusians were like, nah, bitch. So they still protested, and then, you know, he turned back to Putin to cry. Forced to cancel his plans and maintain a balance between the independence of Belarus and Putin's increasing pressure for further integration of the two countries into the Union State. That Union State being the new word for today for, you know, attempting to colonize someone into becoming a part of your Russian Empire again. He inaugurated on the Belarusian flag that is considered neo-Nazi now in Belarus. Holy shit. Oh, damn. Putin views it as when Lukashenko dies, Belarus will be inherited by Russia. But Lukashenko views it as whoever lives longest gets both, not realizing he will never get Russia. Yeah, I think Now that you say it, yeah, I agree with that. I think that Lukashenko is, you know what he's doing? You know how in World War II you had a part of Croatia playing along with Nazis? You know that? How we had some certain very big nationalists in Croatia playing along with Nazis, despite the fact that Nazis saw Croatians as dirt. They saw us as subhuman nation, not even smart enough to do like paper keeping business. They saw us as the dumbest motherfuckers in Balkans, only a bit smarter than the Serbs, right? But still, we tried to play along because some parts of Croatian politics at the time were like, hey, if we play along with Nazis, maybe they give us a proper state of our own. What Belarus is doing right now and what Lukashenko is doing right now seems very similar to that. Like, hey, these Russians, they see me as trash. They see my people as trash. But I'm gonna be playing along with them anyways because I'm hoping that in the future playing along with this empire is going to give me some benefits. So I'm staying on their side and I'm trying to ignore the fact that they see me as trash. Like I'm never getting Belarus, as you said. Russia, he's never getting Russia. He's never getting close to a seat in Russia. They would spit on him the moment he enters. He's just, pretending not to see it. Putin fucked Lukashenko's big plans. It's kind of silly Lukashenko even had big plans. I don't know what he was hoping for, like a revival of a small part of the Soviet Union? In what sort of a universe would Lukashenko be able to get that sort of a power over Russia? Just seems silly. Croats and Serbs are even less compared to the Slovenes, who are practically Austrians with a speech impediment. I agree with your take from my perspective. But I think Hitler would not be that against Austrians with a speech impediment as compared to him being against Slavs. You know what I mean? I think them being Austrians, messed up Austrians, would actually in his mind be like, yeah, at least they're kinda one of us. kinda one of ours. Strategic cooperation, wait. Used Ukrainians, door of Europe, push and used for Croatians, massacred all Serbs because revenge to assassination of Archduke Ferdinand. Revenge for starting the war. I could see it, but also I don't really think Nazis gave too much shit about the Serbs. And Croats were not too against the assassination in question. Croats were not too against it. I don't think Nazis specifically had anything against Serbs really as a nation any more than they had something against any other Slav as a nation. I think a lot of these national wars, like when a Croat looks at them, they're like, oh yeah, Nazis were using us to go and kill Serbs because Nazis hated the Serbs. And Nazis hated everyone. Like really, they just despised Slavs and that was it. I don't really think they gave a shit about which side loses in the fight between Croats and Serbs. I think they just wanted both of us to be weak so they could wipe out what is left, and that's that. So, But yeah. New stream indeed. Hey yo, how are you doing? What's in the news today? What is in the news? Oh, I didn't miss the explanation. I saw it and then I was like, how is this related to literally anything? Is it a long video? Many drone strikes in Russia, fucking based. Where are we seeing them? Where are we seeing them? Are we... Fuck, wait, let me go and then start the... 1 hour? So I ain't watching Jordan Peterson for 1 hour. Oh my dude. It's a 1 hour video? I'm not watching that twat for 1 hour. I don't care about him that much. Don't care about my man that much. Those are all people from Europe. Yeah, I don't care too much about history or philosophy in Europe. Not really a philosophy discussion person that much, to be completely honest with you. I did start looking into it recently. I started reading a book on the entire history of philosophy. I actually made... Fuck, let me show you my obsidian. Let me show you my obsidian. Do I have it opened? I don't. Wait for me to open my obsidian. But I'm reading this book. It's called Sophia's World. Sophia's World? Is it? Video game. Oh, novel. Here it is. Here it is. This one? I think it's this one. Yeah, there's Sophie Admundsen. Basically, she's like a little kid. And she's learning about philosophy. So I started reading this book to get more familiar with the concepts in philosophy. So far what I'm doing is I'm going to read, let me show you. I'm going through the book and I'm reading it, and then I'm saving notes on this. Fuck, how do I open this? In my... Oh, here it is. In my stream. Here it is. Here it is. This is my obsidian, by the way. Look how pretty it is. I made it like brownish and yellowish and shit like that, so it looks pretty. Look at it, look at it, look at it. So basically what I'm doing is like writing down notes, and it has, you know, here are the different chapters, and then for each chapter I have saved the most important notes from the chapter. But that's basically as much as I'm interested in philosophy right now. And especially, I know that they're all Europeans, but I don't think you're understanding my point. If you wish to discuss any singular piece of their philosophies, that's one thing. But I don't really care for what Jordan Peterson has to say. I mostly consider the man to be a false intellectual. I consider him to be cosplaying as a smart person rather than actually being a smart person. I'm not really interested in his views. I'm not really... I don't care that much about what he thinks about anyone. North Macedonians too. Oh, sorry, Greece, he goes. You know that Greek... You know that Greek nationalist song? He's a huge dick. Yeah, that's true. He's a dick, but also he's not really smart. So, yeah, I'm not really too much. I was looking for it previously. You know that Greek nationalist song? It's really, really catchy. It's this one. Waiting. For this. I just love it. Beautiful, just beautiful, beautiful. I love it. Loving the song. This song made me into a Greek nationalist. This song, that's that. Full fucking Greek nationalist. I swear to God. I'm not even, there's nothing that nation has ever done fucking wrong. I love them. Look, when it comes to people having PhDs, we had a conversation about false intellectuals on stream a few days back. So I think my views on this are pretty much set in stone. But basically the view is, I don't care how much you have read. I don't care how many philosophers you have read. I myself am a person who has read a lot of books in my high school. I always used to be holding the records for, like, you know, those kids who read the most books in a certain time. I was a kid who actually read a lot of books in a certain time. I was reading history shit, I was reading philosophy, I was reading fucking everything. You know how much I remember from all of that? You know how much all of that has genuinely, like, stayed in my skull? Not too much. Not too much. Not gonna lie to you. Not too much. It doesn't matter how much you've read, and it doesn't even matter what sort of PhD you have. When we talk about these types of topics, right? This is not really something that a person builds a skill on. This is more so something that, like, your level of knowledge really matters on the topic. A lot of people with PhDs and a lot of people who do read a lot are false intellectuals. Specifically, I believe the conversation we had on this last stream was on Destiny and his little thing of going around and debating all of these intellectuals, because that is where you actually see how stupid these people are, right? That is where you actually see how many of these people who are supposed to be intellectuals are actually just relatively dumb and just exist in this sort of intellectual part of humanity because we know their name and their name is connected to them supposedly being an intellectual, but they very often have no idea what they're even talking about. So the fact that he has a PhD, the fact that he's read a lot, it doesn't really matter that much to me if I watch the man saying stupid shit. And not even stupid shit that's like, you know, trying to attack him based on his opinions. I mean genuinely stupid shit. I mean, like, genuinely, I don't consider him to be too smart. I don't consider him to be capable of thinking to any sort of a level that would make me go, oh yeah, this is a man whose opinion I actually do respect. So yeah, genuinely, like, when I say I would rather if you had some sort of a topic about philosophy you yourself would like to discuss, I'm genuinely saying that I would care for an opinion of a Twitch chatter more than I would care for the opinion of Jordan Peterson. I don't care about the man too much. Wait, I didn't click on my links. Didn't click on my links because I was making you guys listen to Greek nationalist songs. Shit, Bekino is on a fire again? Oh no. Oh no. Surprising. Oh shit. Landsbergis. They invade you, send trains full of your people to prison camps, hold a fake referendum and pretend to save you from Nazis by killing you. Familiar indeed. Familiar indeed, isn't it? Is this safe for work? I feel that's not gonna be safe for work. I don't trust you people in your videos. My man is chilling. My man's chilling. My man's doing that, like, teenage drinking thing when you get drunk out of your fucking mind. If he presented original thought and insight that mattered, then he would really be impressive. Yeah, genuinely, because, like, most you hear the man say is just him repeating the culture war bullshit, or him saying things that is genuinely inaccurate. I think my view of him will never get the same after he made that one video on Ukraine, and he was just wrong in basically everything he said. Just, like, genuinely wrong. Like, he didn't know the geography. You know, actually wrong. He didn't look it up. He didn't look up the geography. He didn't look up where Ukraine is. He didn't look up where the borders of Ukraine are. He just knew nothing. And he was sitting there in his little suit, all smug, and he's talking to the camera as if he knows something about it. And he knows nothing. And I think from that moment on, I was just like, man, look at this smug little piece of shit. And he knows nothing. He doesn't know stuff that is like physically wrong. Why would I take for serious his opinions on stuff like philosophy when he can't get simple physical stuff correctly, like looking on a map and checking the borders of countries you are talking about? You know what I mean? So overall, I don't really care. Why is the European Union better than the USA? Actually, one logic does support that, and it is the logic of we kicked out Mick Wallace and Claire Daly from the European Union Parliament. They're out. They're not here anymore. They're not here anymore. So really, why would we be in any sort of a way worse than USA that still has Trumpers in their government? We kicked 2 of ours out. I think we're doing okay. I think we're doing all right. Better to keep your mouth shut and be thought a fool than to open your mouth, repeat some pizzas and chicken shit, and remove all doubt. True. Can't bring myself to dislike him, as he does serve as many people's entry point into popular psychology. And also he's an old dude who nearly cooked his brain that time he went into a coma. It's kind of punching down. It actually is, now that I think about it. It actually is. Yeah, it's like bullying one of those like little crayon eating kids in your classroom. You know, you go and you kick their ass, and then it's like, it doesn't really feel good. It doesn't make you feel good, does it? Could have just like let them live. Could have just ignored them. Yeah, I see that.
The work day for you and for me also. I've been waiting for this for a long time. I'm getting out of town. Now, first news, and also today we're gonna have a huge chunk about Moscow Stock Exchange and ruble and Russian economy, because that is burning right now. But I'll begin with this crazy guy. This is Moscow rally in Moscow yesterday, and this guy was screaming a message to all of the people who were following him in the rain with this.
No, I'm not willing to watch your videos.
We call it the orange and black. It's
if you're not able to present a topic to have a conversation about yourself, I'm not willing to watch your videos.
To the West, and especially to Washington, to the United States. So if you're watching from US, I really want to know how this makes you feel. Don't worry, it's 1 minute
Talking about the
long.
Pope, what did he say about AI? Is that about Jaspers? I know what you said. I'm saying that if you yourself don't start a conversation about a topic, I'm not willing to watch your videos on the topic.
We take the USA into focus. It's this guy is like a rapper. He's like a poet.
Pope AI.
For a Russian victory, we demand to introduce flight missions in our strategic nuclear missiles and target cities in the United States of America. This guy is screaming this over Moscow. We demand nuclear flight missions into USA.
Check this out. Francis said politicians must take the lead in making sure AI remains human-centric, so that decisions about when to use weapons or even less lethal tools always remain made by humans and not machines. He's worrying that we're just going to use the AI in warfare to be killing everyone. Which I'm pretty sure is not something that we would start testing anytime soon. But I guess when warfare AI gets into actual problems, I would probably agree with him. You think it's gonna be used soon? Can we get that good of a system soon? Man, I would be impressed by that. They probably have? How much did we? Fuck, I need to Google that. I assumed the systems are not good enough. AI in warfare. Deeply concerned. Deeply, deeply, deeply concerned. Oh, warfare systems such as weapons, sensors, navigation, aviation support, and surveillance can employ AI in order to make operations more efficient and less reliant on human input. Wait, let me play this dude. Oh, Jasper's formulation of transcendence as ultimate non-objectivity has led many philosophers to argue ultimately. In your own words, tell me how you understand Jasper's theory of transcendence. Ooh.
Yar Sarmat and Poseidon, we are targeting Washington.
Full decision-making process?
Eminem. Russian
AI,
Eminem,
really?
Right here. Only the propagandist. On Washington. So, you're watching from the United States. How does this make you? Like the
Could we even
typical
tell the
psychologist
difference
question. How
between
does this make
autonomous
you feel?
drones and remotely piloted ones? Could they be here already? Oh shit, well, yeah.
Now Washington means, yeah, we're going on to Washington. Now it's like on
Proper.
top of it, we're gonna take it, we're gonna destroy it. Now Berlin
Proper,
was
actually,
like
proper.
Second World War.
I
where
don't
they
know
took
now
it.
that you
Now
say
it's
it.
not Kiev, now it's now Washington. So, on Washington. And look at this huge, I don't know what to call it. It looks like a huge dildo on a car, but it's actually like a nuclear missile on a car. Actually, this is Lada Samara, I think.
The most useful military
It's like a
applications of
crappy car,
AI in
but if you attach a nuclear
2024
missile
and
dildo
beyond.
on top of it, yeah, no Washington.
That's catchy. Oh,
Yeah,
listen to this.
crazy.
Pentagon
So we
recently
finished the video.
updated
I
its
feel like I
autonomous
have a little
weapons
bit,
policy
less brain
to take
cells
into account
before I
recent
started this
advances
video,
in
but I
AI.
think we all need to see this. So again, I want to know your reaction to it. As a volunteer for Ukraine, I often have to travel a lot and attend important meetings. I need to make sure that I look up to par. And I found a really
DoD
amazing
is
solution for
prioritizing
myself,
AI
and I want to
investments,
share it with you.
particularly in light of
Let me
China's goal to
introduce
be
you
the
to the
world
sponsor
leader
of
in this
video,
area by
a fantastic brand that
2030.
I've recently discovered and fallen in love with, Manscaped. Manscaped is trusted by more than 10
The document
million
focuses
men
on building
worldwide
trust
for
between
their
human
grooming
decision
tools
makers
and
and AI
products.
systems.
And today I want to talk to you about the Handyman Compact Face Shaver. The Handyman is equipped with a unique dual blade. It features a standard foil shaver as well as a long hair leveler blade to knock down up to 3 days worth of growth. It also features skin-safe technology designed to help reduce nicks and cuts. The Handyman is waterproof, which helps make cleanup quick and easy. It has a sleek and compact design, fits perfectly in your hand, making it easy to maneuver and reach even the thickest spots. It's perfect for those who are always on the go or have limited storage space. It's a must-have for volunteers like me, jet setters and adventurers alike, and it's airplane friendly. The Handyman boasts up to
So it
60
basically-
minutes runtime on a single charge. That means you'll have more than
Anarcho-capitalism
enough
for every
time for
problem.
multiple shaves without worrying
I feel
about running out of power. The Handyman
the
Compact Face
problem
Shaver
for
from
every
Manscaped
situation is
the perfect
anarcho-capitalism,
addition
really.
to your grooming arsenal. And
I feel
worked
more of
out
that.
a
Like, if you
special
want to
deal
make
for
any situation you're living in worse, just like imagine if it was actually anarcho-capitalism. All right, Carl Jasper's theory of transcendence, the way I understand it, is just like there's something beyond. There's something beyond the world we can experience. There's something beyond the world we can experience through our senses and the limits of our understanding, right? Transcendence is a dimension that allows for freedom and the possibility of becoming more than what we currently are. You know what I feel? You know how sometimes you look into Greek philosophers? Give me a second, by the way.
All of you, go to manscaped.com and use the code Artur at checkout to get 20% off your purchase of the handyman. Trust me, it's worth every penny. But now, my friends, the juiciest part of the video, and it wasn't this one, it is the Moscow Stock Exchange and the rule book. You guys loved.
Look, you know how sometimes you look into Greek philosophers and they're like,
it's this campfire that is so big that
they're
you wake
saying
up in your
shit
tent, you go
just to
outside and
say
it's
shit.
still burning. That's
A
how
lot of
big
them
it
are
is.
just saying
Let's
stuff.
begin. I have many links for
But
me to
stuff
click
doesn't
and to
really
watch it all
matter.
through.
I'm
But
not going
a
to
collapse
lie
of the
to
shares
you.
began on the
This
Moscow
thing feels like
Exchange
that. It's
after
like one of those
yesterday's
things that
introduction of a new packet of sanctions
I
against
don't,
Russia.
I don't know if it's the fact that I'm
dollar
really
rate reached
not that much into
Now, put that in
philosophy
my thumbnail,
itself.
200 rubles for $1. And many
But
of you
to me, it feels like, oh, this is a
what are you
man
talking
just
about?
saying shit, so he would say shit, and I don't really think the theory matters in any sort of a way, really. Now, some Greek philosophers were based. Some Greek philosophers were based. Some of them, if you look into them, were mostly just like people saying shit. It was just people saying stuff to say stuff. A lot of philosophy is just people saying useless shit to say useless shit, really. So I don't really think it matters. I don't really think it matters. I don't really think it's a theory that's particularly unique to me. And it doesn't make me think. No, I don't think it's an argument in the first place. I think it's blabber. I think it's blabber mostly. No, I don't think it's convincing in any sort of a way. Give me a sec, by the way.
No issues in believing that. If you're perhaps from Germany or from France, maybe you think it's clickbait. But everything will unfold in time. Give it a few minutes. Today, shares of the Moscow Stock Exchange opened with a decrease of up to 15%. So the general.
All right, close the doors. You guys know? Have you guys ever heard of the?
30% down, some were 5% down.
Let me Google it. I
But
can't
the
remember
yield
who
curve
said it
fell
first.
was 15 of the whole stock
Can't
exchange.
remember
Now,
who
this
said it
is a
first.
15% is a collapse because some of them went 50% down. The Moscow Exchange Ruble Index fell below 3,100 points for the
That
first
proof
time since
for
June
God.
the 3rd. And my friends, that is only
Oh,
the
here, I
first
found
link.
it.
I have many different mystery links here ready.
I feel very bad for pausing Arthur all of the time. I can't get focused with you people asking me shit. Listen, proof for God. Have you guys ever read this? Because when I was in my edgy atheist phase, this shit was being linked to me left and right. And all of this is like useless. You understand what I mean? I feel this as the theory of transcendence thing. All of this is useless. All of this is just blabber. All of this is just... You know how sometimes you read communists writing on Twitter and their posts feel like a person got a lot of drugs in their system and then just wrote a string of thoughts to form a sentence. Didn't think about it too much. It was just like, I want lots of words in front of me, so I will just write everything I am thinking, and then they just go and write and write and write and write and write, and none of it really makes any sense. But they're just, you know, writing and writing and writing and writing. It's like that with this shit. Like, our senses can perceive motion by seeing that things act on one another. Whatever moves is moved by something else. Consequently, there must be a first mover that created this chain reaction of motions. This is God. I don't feel this theory matters in any sort of a way. I don't think it's an interesting argument. I don't think the argument is unique in any sort of a way. I feel shit like that only really makes you wonder about the existence of God. Not gonna lie, I think the only reason, one reason, this would make you wonder about the existence of God is if you are lying and you are trying to pretend you give a shit about this string of words. Because there's nothing meaningful in all of this. There's nothing meaningful in the theory of transcendence as far as I've seen it so far. There's nothing meaningful in this. They're saying nothing. They're saying nothing. It's only the false intellectuals who are going to look at this and go, you know how Elon Musk goes, interesting. Looking into it. Big if true. It's like that. I feel it's like false philosophers going, nothing can cause itself, so there must be a first cause that caused all the other causes, therefore there must be a God. Big if true. I will ponder about this all night. No, you will not. No, you will not. Come on. So yeah, basically what I'm trying to tell you is that I think a lot of shit is being talked about as if it's really smart, and it just really isn't. I say, if there is a God, let him strike me down right now. Oh my man, I have a relationship with Jesus. I have a very specific relationship with Jesus. In a way that if there is a God, I firmly believe that when I die, if I die, I almost said, he's coming down the day I die, because he's gonna run away from me, all right? Me and Jesus, we have a relationship, and we have a relationship in which every once in a while I get really depressed, and then I get pissed off about the existence of an not existing man who is allowing me to be depressed to this extent, when he could just like do an appearance or some shit to prove to me that he exists. And then I threaten him that I'm gonna beat him up. So far there has been no thunder striking me, and my life is going rather well. So I would assume he either agrees with my idea of beating him the fuck up when I come up there, and he's terrified, or he's not really real in the first place. How is that not an argument? It's not. It's useless. It's an argument in the same way that someone like throwing shit at you is an argument, you know? Like, I understand what message you might be trying to carry. I just think that the message is useless. I think the message is absolutely useless. I don't think it's a message worth looking into. I don't think there's anything to look into in the first place. It's absolutely better than mind-blown agnostics and others, 7,000 other theism. Yeah, no, to be fair, I don't have anything against agnostics. I don't have anything against agnostics. I think agnostics are chill. But yeah, I think what really, you know what's the group, now that we talk about this, you know what's really the group that annoys me the most? The people pretending that they have deeper philosophical reasons for believing. I think now that we're having this conversation, I think they annoy me the most. I truly think they are like, I don't believe they're actually into philosophy. I don't believe they're actually thinkers. I don't believe there's actually anything there. I think they just say that they believe in God because of philosophy, because A, they're trying to be contrarian, and B, they're trying to sound smart. And I don't really think that, it's making them into a person one wants to be having conversations with. When it comes to people casually religious, I don't really care. Not really something that I'm too emotional about. Or he's keeping you alive to delay having to deal with you. Yeah, delay because he's scared. He's terrified. He is terrified. My dude, when my dog died, I was so pissed off. Like, if Jesus had an email, I would be writing him death threats in it, all right? I was pissed the fuck off. So, yeah, I feel he's terrified. It's my feeling. It's my theory. It's my theory, all right? The reason why you don't see any sort of evidence for the existence of God is because I'm here and he doesn't dare to show himself while I'm around. All right? That's my theory. Debunk that. Do you see that as an argument? You probably don't, because it's a useless string of words in the very much same way all of this has been. Arthur, though.
And they are gonna be juicy. Moscow Exchange says something is wrong. Yes, they actually haven't opened yet after the huge impact yesterday. And so are also most of the Russian banks, if I couldn't say all of the Russian banks. They're all afraid of the bank runs. Not only afraid, the bank runs are going on already on the banks that actually still have cash. Most banks in Russia have run out of cash. For example, Rosbank website is down. Clients cannot log in. Many Russian banks are not allowing customers to log in because they do not have the liquidity
Thank you, USA.
to give customers
Yeah, my
their
best
money
friend.
because of the new United States sanctions. And this is all of the banks, actually, because... Well,
Enlightenment
in
and
the 70s
liberalism.
and 80s,
Could see that.
bank
Yeah, I can
run
see that.
when a guy went to a bank and withdrew his money and everybody did this. Nowadays, a bank run can be digital, electronic. A bank run is just when everybody in the country is trying to transfer their money away from the country or into another currency, and everybody's trying to buy dollars right now. Everybody. They're not physically going to ATM. They're just trying to do it on their phones, but it doesn't work because all of the bank's pages are down, just to prevent this from happening, because as I said yesterday, I predict if this would be allowed to happen, I would say 10
Hey,
billion
how are you doing?
States dollars worth of assets from just regular Russian people would be transferred into dollars. Huge outflow of Russian wealth into dollars, because that is the safe currency. Ruble is not the safe currency. And the fact that we actually have the bank run and the banks blocked their own websites shows that Russian people think that dollar
Eurocup
is
hype. I hope you guys are cheering for Croatia tomorrow.
Very strange, I know. Now again,
You cheering for
Russian stock
Croatia?
market
Please cheer
is
for Croatia.
collapsing.
Wait, he switched. So now I can pause him and look through the chat, and then we're going back to my man, alright? Only thing bigger is a waste of time than physiology is theology. I actually fully, than psychology, holy shit. I fully agree with that, and the reason I agree with that is because for a while I wanted to get into theology, because I had a theological university is like the hardest one to finish. So I was like, damn, this is a really, really smart thing. Turns out it is really hard to finish, but it's really hard to finish because you have to be learning languages. You have to be learning like Latin, you have to be learning Greek, stuff like that. It's not a hard university to finish because of theology itself. Theology itself is rather simple, really. So, yeah. I feel it's again one of those things that, like, I don't know, we kind of see as more complex than they actually are. As people question reality, they confront borders that an empirical or scientific method can simply not resent. At this point, the individual faces a choice: sink into despair and resignation, or take a leap of faith towards what Jasper calls transcendence. In making this leap, individuals confront their own limitless freedom, which Jasper calls existence, and can finally experience authentic existence. Yeah, again, what I feel that is a string of words after you get on mushrooms. That is philosophy for a person who, at the age of 13, opened their own philosophy book. Like, I genuinely don't feel the string of words matters in any sort of a way. I don't feel anything said there is meaningful in any sort of a way. It's just him going, yeah, I'm imagining these borders that you can't be questioning using your own senses. I imagine these borders of things that you can be questioning and anything beyond, because I drew the borders myself, the borders that don't really exist. And then the only way to cross this border is by leap of faith towards transcendence, which I like as a term. But that's that. I just made up the fucking borders that you have to leap over in the first place. What fucking borders? None of this really matters. So yeah, I'm not seeing it as an argument. Shorted the Russian stock market at the start of the war. Nice, nice. Serbia, Hungary, Slovakia all playing. Irrelevant. Croatia. Wait, that one was used? That's second. Refer to the experience of being that is particular to human beings. Conscious. He's talking about consciousness. Form of being that is aware of and must confront issues as personhood, mortality, and the dilemma of paradox of living in relationship with other humans while being ultimately alone with oneself. Consciousness is just a way that people who pretend to be smart but aren't really smart go and talk about consciousness. Like, oh, it's a fancy word that I like using. It's a foreign word, so people have to go look it up. It's just human consciousness, my dude. This isn't a complex conversation. This really, like, nothing so far has been any sort of a unique thought or a unique argument in any way. Like, it's not even a theory of existing. It's just consciousness. It's just human consciousness. Humans being aware of themselves. That's what it is. Europe came to its senses. Yeah, we kicked out Mick Wallace and Claire Daly from the European Union Parliament. We also kicked out Sinčić. So I would say in that regard, we did come to our senses. We did have... I read the quote you copy-pasted. I read the quote. I literally commented on the quote you copy-pasted. I said it's a useless quote. I commented on it, yeah. Oh, there's nothing about Islam in our current politics, but all right. We did have some far-right groups doing populism regarding the Middle Eastern refugees. But I think that was basically that. Ireland's still a shit country, so who cares? Yeah, that too. The Irish tanky? Yes. Mick Wallace. You're talking about Mick Wallace. He's kicked out. He didn't get enough votes. So we got rid of Claire Daly. We got rid of Mick Wallace. Now, as far as I've heard, some of the people replacing them are still interesting individuals. All right? But look, this is still a big loss for dictatorial, genocidal regimes around the world that these two clowns have been defending. All right? So still something. As people question reality... No, I read that. Yeah, I think it's bullshit. I don't think it's particularly stupid. And I don't think it's particularly smart. I just think it's a waste of time to read. That's everything. People do choose far right because of mass migration from Islamic countries. I am disagreeing. On the basis of, I think people choose far right because of propaganda created around the immigration from Islamic countries. But I do not believe that the immigration itself is in any sort of a way on a European level problematic. I think what we are having is far-right groups choosing to pretend as if this issue is bigger than what it actually is in order to get the voters to vote for them. And again, like, I don't know if I've shown you this. But like, if you look at where Syrian people live in Germany, and if you look at which part of Germany, where was that map, had the most AfD voters, what you're going to see is something not surprising at all, and it is that these two do not overlap. These two do not overlap, because it was never genuinely about Middle Easterners coming over to our countries. When you look at Afghani people, they also live in the same areas. This was genuinely never about mass migration. It never was about that. It's about far-right using manipulation to get voters on their side. Better map. Oh, yeah, nice. Oh, then that is a cool one. Yeah, but like, you see where the AfD is, and you see where the Syrians are? If Islam were the problem leading people to far right, you would see AfD voters here. You would not see AfD voters here, where they have barely any Syrian refugees, really. It was never about immigrants, and it was never about refugees, and it was never about the danger of Islam or the danger of Middle Easterners. It was always about manipulation. Propaganda or not, fear works. That's true. No, definitely true. Absolutely true. Fear has been employed by the far right to get more votes, definitely. I just think the distinction is really important to make, because I feel that blaming it on the refugees kind of creates the idea that it's actually true that these refugees are so dangerous that people experiencing being near them are now voting far right, when that's not true. It simply isn't true. It's people who have barely ever met a refugee voting against them. GDR built the wall to protect Germany from fascism, to protect Western Germany from them. Yeah, fuck yeah. Most of their people are still indoctrinated. Yeah, that's another fun thing about the map, because you do have a lot of Soviet people in these areas, Russians and Ukrainians both. But when it comes to Middle Easterners, you genuinely don't have them in AFD voting parts. Makes no sense to be despising an entire religion, to be completely honest. I feel Islam is rather, on its own, rather alright as a religion. Rather alright in a way that I feel there's no reason for you to be despising Islam. That would not be at the same time reason to be despising Christianity. It's like it's just your average religion. You can't hate one without hating the other. All the same shit that one did, the other did too.
Many people once will say, oh, 200 rubles per $1, clickbait. It's not collapsing, stock market is not collapsing, economy is doing okay. It's not, my friends, it's really not. The ruble is already stabilizing if you look at the official price of it, not the one that I mentioned before of the under-counter price. But the thing is, every kind of stabilization that Russia is able to do on the stock market or ruble's price, they're not really doing it. They're not improving their currency by somehow. They're not making the economy better. What they are doing is that
yeah, my man, in the same way I care for your opinions on philosophy, at this point I care for your opinions on immigration reform.
Chinese, they're selling that, and that strengthens the ruble. But that is just an extremely last-ditch effort. It's the last thing you do before the all-out collapse. If you do that, that would strengthen your currency, but you can only do that as long as you have the foreign currency. It's a very finite amount. They would run out very soon.
By the way,
so
what I wanted to show
any kind
you.
of stabilization you see in Russian economics is because they're puking money at the problem. They are running out of that money to puke, but right now they still have some left. Moscow bank branches have run out of cash.
What I wanted to show you, there was one specific post that I'm going to find.
2 dozen branches of large banks, mainly Sberbank, but also Alpha and Avantgarde. And there's also Gazprom Bank. Yesterday I talked about Gazprom Bank since they are a bank branch of the Gazprom, the Russian state-owned oil and gas company. Yes, they do have a bank called Gazprom Bank. And somebody said, oh, it's sketchy as hell. What is this? It is one of the Russia's biggest banks. It's like in the top 5. Gazprom Bank. It's crazy, I know. And Gazprom is very much connected to how Russian economy is doing. And Gazprom is taking massive losses right now. Let's check this out. So this is Gazprom market cap from 2010 to 2024. As you can see, right before.
Oh, personally, I don't care about economy.
It was almost
like, I feel if you came to me and you were like, hey, I'm an expert on Russian economy, and you just like ate shit in front of me for 10 minutes, I wouldn't be able to know. I don't care too much about economy.
And it is in free fall. It has never been this low before.
What I like is seeing them lined up in front of their banks and waiting for hours. Because like for me, it's like, all right, they're shitting themselves. That's good for us. That's basically that. When it comes to economy, I'm not pretending to know. Holy shit.
14 years ago. That is stagnation. It's not even. It's horrible. And if this is Gazprom,
people in Russia used to live in poverty. Will change nothing. Yeah, that too. That too.
Of Gazprom, the company. So that the orcs can see a dollar sign again, I have included this in the photo.
Oh yeah, some of them were the one specific one. Yeah, that's true. I remember that. There was like a whole propaganda thing about people going like, hey, look at the lines in front of the banks in Russia. And it's like just one line over and over and over. So I think that's what you're talking about.
32 rubles. And this price is always going up and down. And yesterday it peaked for a moment at 200. This is where I got the number. It's officially from Russian banks, not connected anything to the West's information. It's what Russian banks will sell the dollar for Russian people. It was close to 200. Now it's about 132. Financial advisor in Russia are warning businesses to hold off concluding any ruble-denominated deals for fear the currency could plummet any day now. And I always love this chart. I always keep an eye on this because currency is really nice to be valued on what you can actually get for it. And if like Zimbabwe dollar or these famous currencies which inflated so much you couldn't get, like the piece of paper of this 10 million Zimbabwe dollar was more valuable than the number itself. So, in Russian currency, ruble,
Yeah, people were starving in
one piece of
USSR and
toilet
people
paper,
could be
one of the
starving
cheapest
now.
ones in Russia. The
Definitely.
cheapest Russian toilet paper
They won't
is
give a shit.
for 0.4 United States cents per dollar. 0.4. It's 0.4 United States cents per sheet of toilet paper. One sheet, not the rolls. It's one of the cheapest things you can buy in a economy, right? So if the 1 ruble is right now 0.7 cents United States cents. If it devalues to 0.4 United States cents, then you can actually, the 1 ruble, which is also a coin and which there are even smaller coins, is less valuable than a sheet of toilet paper. So you could technically use a sheet of toilet paper as money because it's more valuable. This is where it's going. This is how low the ruble has crashed. And my friends, it is not only Russia because CSTO or Russian Security Treaty Organization, NATO copycats, all of these countries have very, very high export and import trade relations with Russia. That is all connected with the ruble. Financial fallout began. Banks in Kyrgyzstan, a member country of the Russian CSTO military alliance, are blocking transactions, even in rubles, in both directions with Russian banks. Everyone is expecting the ruble to become worthless, and no one wants to be stuck
To
holding
be
it
fair,
back.
Sushka. Sushko is kinda... I like Sushko, he's entertaining. But he's a bit of a propagandist. he's a bit of a... He's interesting. Let's say it like that. He's interesting. He's an interesting little man. Interesting little account. I have no idea who's behind it. But yeah. Trademark renewal in Russia amid ongoing war and previous brand withdrawal. Oh shit. They submitted 3 separate applications for trademark registration. Oh shit. Experts suggested Coca-Cola's fillings may be a way to maintain legal protection for the brands in Russia. Oh, they were withdrawn from the market in 2022 and their legal protection may be terminated in 2005. So they're guessing that the reason they are renewing it is to maintain legal protection for their brands in Russia. Even though I don't really think... I don't really think Russia cares about legally protecting your brands, but like, alright. Putin laid out conditions for ending the war, which included Ukraine giving up its territories, Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson and Zaporizhia, and the abandonment of plans to join NATO. It's basically, you give us a huge chunk of your country, even the parts that we do not control as of right now. You give all of that to us, and then you don't join NATO. So we can regroup, and then in few years we can attack you again. That's that. That's really that. That's the entirety of the message that they're trying to send, really. But I say this. They're switching from the main foreign currency. Come on. I was starving in USSR. I'm sorry to hear that. Give us what we want and we GG. Yeah, and literally give us what we want. Not even give us the areas that we control as of right now, but give us areas we don't even control, we just want them. Give us areas that we don't even, like, hold as of right now. And then we will allow you to have peace for a few years. Not inside NATO though. Why not inside NATO? I've got no idea. How do you think Ukraine is going to be okay with this? I feel he knew though. It's one of those things where he didn't make the proposal in order for Ukraine to actually think about it. He made the proposal so the Western news would be filming it and showing it and going, guys, look, Putin wants peace. Putin wants peace. Putin is such a peaceful little man. He is setting up the conditions for peace. Look at him. Is Zelensky setting conditions for peace? He is not. He is not. He didn't set no conditions for peace that we have talked about because we completely ignored his entire proposal, all right? We're not talking about that. We're talking about Putin right now, and he has few very simple demands. Give him everything he wants. I don't feel how that is unreasonable. The legs of Bush, oh shit, yeah, I remember Googling that for the first time. Had no idea about the meme previously. When Russians say Russia number one, I ask them number one and what? And their answer is usually nothing, or China is with us. Yeah, they kind of lost even what they had going on previously. Like even, previously they used to be the most important gas supplier of Europe and we used to be all relying on them and shit like that. And now that they're losing even that sort of relevance, I do hope it's hitting them. I hope it's hitting them. I hope an average Russian does notice the fact that his country is losing standing. You know what it reminds me though? What it reminds me of? You guys remember that 1420 interview where a bunch of people were asked what they love about Russia? Which is a similar question to what is Russia number one at. They were asked what they love about Russia and how many of them said nature? You remember that? How many of them were like, oh yeah, I like Russian nature. Oh yeah, Russia has great forests. I love Russian forests, incredible forests. Yeah. Loving Russia for that. Why did you move to Russia? I moved to Russia because of the nature. I don't know.
Yeah, the thing is, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, all of these countries, Tajikistan, they are waiting for ruble to collapse. Now, it is safer to block transactions, all transactions with ruble, than to allow them and people in Russia transfer rubles to Kyrgyzstan and buy
Stealing land
dollars
could
in
be.
return or euros, and Kyrgyzstan would be left
Stealing
with
land
billions
and
of
eating
extra
shit, I
rubles
guess.
that 2 weeks later will lose all their value.
Two parts of Russian
these
culture.
countries actually, like banks in Russia, are just plain out blocking
Also
their citizens
tempting
any
genocide.
transfers in Russian rubles. It's just safer for them. And now, to
I don't
sum
feel
up
they have a
this
lot of
entire
competitors.
topic, Russian exporters are already sounding their alarm and claiming that there will be a 10 to 25% drop in exports and imports in the next 6 months due to the inability to pay for foreign trade transactions in dollars and euros. It is, like, it doesn't seem bad for you, 10 to 25. But 10 to 25 is an economic collapse. It's
I would also answer that about
sense.
Sweden.
Thing
I just,
is,
you know what's my
most
thing?
valuable items.
I'm gonna show you. a thing. This is the nature of Croatia. And very often when you ask Croatian people what's the best part of Croatia, they will tell you nature. They're gonna be like, oh, our nature is so beautiful. Oh, our nature is just gorgeous, we're so unique when it comes to that. But then you do a thing and you Google like nature in Hungary and you see that it's gorgeous, isn't it? Look at that. Beautiful. Is that not beautiful? Come on, look me in the eyes and tell me that's not cool as shit. But then you go and Google another country. Man? And then you go and what you do is you Google any country existing in the world and they all have lovely nature. They all look beautiful. And I feel in a way none of us are really unique when it comes to it. You know? All countries' good part is their nature. But to be specifically proud of your country for your nature that you have, to me it feels like, those people who are proud of being born in their own country just because it's their country. It's like there's rarely ever, or I want to say never, something unique about it. Like there's nothing, really. All of them are gorgeous. Vatican, I don't even know what they have. Unless you're in Vatican, I guess. I mean, I'm seeing some cool looking gardens. Look at this. That's looking really, really good. Where do you lean in politics? Depending on which question we're talking about. Are you interested in particular leanings? I lean pro-European Union. I lean pro-Ukraine. I don't know, my man. I lean based. Like right to left. Oh, I've learned one thing on Twitch streaming, and it's that right and left are useless. I learned one thing. Not even just like Twitch streaming, but online shit, and it's that it's useless. It's like, it's not a useful way to determine someone's stances at all. So like, I don't know. When I do the tests, I'm usually like left. But to be honest, when I talk to people, I have been called everything. Everything from the far left to far right, and then everything in between. So it's not really something that matters to me. But if you're willing to ask about a specific stance on a specific thing, I'm more than happy to, you know, go into that. I just think that like groupings are kinda useless. Saying nature is the best part is saying that the best part is the place without the people. That too, to be fair, that too. Yeah, salut Gustavo, salut. Every country has scenic nature, yes, except for, you know, some of them don't. Radical centrists. I've been called recently, I was called a progressive. I was described as a progressive waving a nationalist flag. That was the way that he like, and I like that. It was a whole thing. How was it? Fuck, I'm using it as my Twitter header right now. I found it so funny. Newest brand of a citizen, straight from the EPP factory, voter 3000, supporting progressive policies while waving nationalist flags. And I was like, yeah, all right, I can't even argue with it. I can't even say that you're incorrect. Shit, most conservative? Man, I don't even know. I got called far right once for being really against homeschooling. But I don't know if that's an opinion of the far right or if that was specifically a leftist wanting to fight with me. But I got called far right for that once. Yeah, man, I don't know what's my most conservative opinion. Oh, I had one. But it's like, it's considered a leftist opinion in Croatia. But the conversation was about gay marriage in Croatia. And basically my take is that I don't care if it's called civil partnership and not marriage, as long as we give gay people the exact same rights, like exact same tax benefits and exact same, you know, every other benefit basically in being seen as the equal partner. Because marriage in Croatia is deeply, deeply linked, not just in Croatia, but in any country, it's deeply, deeply linked to religion. And if religious people want to be, you know, standing back, I feel they have the right to do so, right? You want to be eating shit in your little religious corner, I feel you should be allowed to eat shit in your little religious corner, as long as there is a secular alternative to what you are offering people to do. In Croatia, it was considered a strongly, strongly reformative left-wing opinion, whereas online, it's usually considered to be deeply problematic. But I guess it's not even like conservative, it's mostly like softly right? I have no idea what it is. Everything is far right if you're woke enough. That too. Ivan 1 not working. Oh, economical far right would be most pro homeschooling. Ah, fuck. Rich family isolation is kind of take two. I was against, you know why I was against it? I was against it because I saw that one video of Richard Dawkins speaking to a creationist, and then I went into a research bubble of homeschooling in USA specifically. You know how many cults do homeschooling? You know how many cults like specifically push you to homeschool your children? It's ridiculous. There was this, it reminds me, there was this one online far-right personality on You're Homeschooled. I think it shows. There was this one far-right online personality recently, and she made a post that like she wants to have a lot of children and she wants to be homeschooling them all so they don't fall into the leftist agenda. Like, so I don't know. Genuinely, I'm very strongly against it. So the far right for pro homeschooling, I have no idea. I have no idea. I was called far right because I was against it, because the idea was that you're taking away people's liberty. So like you have to be right wing. But that is one of those reasons why I don't really think the whole grouping matters. It's like when someone calls himself a left wing these days. Are they real? What does it even mean to be left wing these days? Like there's left wingers who are openly cheering for the genocide of Ukrainians right now. What does it mean? It means nothing. So, you know, having a conversation about specific stances is meaningful, but doing these little stupid groupings, I feel it's mostly useless. It's, you know what it is? You know what it is? Now that we had a conversation about like false philosophers and throwing into conversation useless philosophical arguments that are just a bunch of useless words, but they make you feel smart. I feel in political part of conversations, that's what these groupings are. Especially when you have those like really, really fringe ones. I feel that's what it is. You know, you're to yourself, you think that you know what you're talking about, and then you ID with some of these groups and you think that you're so smart and your position is the best one ever and shit like that. But in reality, it doesn't really matter. Like it genuinely doesn't matter. None of that shit carries any sort of a meaning. And then especially like if you look into like when I was researching nationalism, for example, learning how many cultures view nationalism differently as part of like a left-wing or a right-wing culture, depending on whether or not the nation throughout its history was an imperialist nation trying to rule over its neighbors, or if the nation was a nation fighting for its independence. So if it was fighting, nationalism is seen as like a left-wing ideology part, and if it was imperialist, then nationalism is a right-wing ideology part. It's like it genuinely doesn't give you any sort of knowledge about the person if you're neither left or right. There's a lot of homeschooling in Ukraine because remote school doesn't work anyway. Oh, I feel to be fair, I feel when it comes to a country going through a war, I feel the situation is completely different. I feel all the analysis just gets thrown away when the situation in the country is unique enough, right? Like, if a country is going through a war, a lot of the things about them are not going to be able to be compared to countries that are not going through a war right now. Like, completely, fully different situation, absolutely.
That Russian needs are imported because they don't make them, and of course the best ones come from the West, and sanctions are not hitting all of them. Huge portions.
Like, it's, you know what it is? Sorry, Arthur, for pausing you. You know what it is? It's like when someone talks about border control when it comes to illegal immigration, and you ask them, where are you from? And they say Eastern Germany. And you would be like, but then someone else talk about border control regarding immigration. And you ask them, hey, where are you from? And they say, oh, I live near the Polish border with Belarus. Or near the Finnish border with Russia. You know what I mean? I don't feel you can lump these opinions into something specific when it comes to situations that are really, really complex and really, really unique. Drone footage of invaders getting blown up. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. You can lump people together and be racist, alright, that too. You can do that, you can do that. You shouldn't be lumping people together unless they're Serbs.
Now that Russia cannot pay in these currencies anymore to the West, they cannot import certain goods. You don't even need to sanction these goods. They just cannot pay for them because no country in the West would accept rubles. No way in. Now, my friends, this is a TV in Russia. TV channels were again hacked and playing the Swan Lake. If you know, you know. The Swan Lake, you cannot be mistake about it. It's the Swan. Also, this shows the real Russian losses of the war on the screen, so every Russian would see this. But the Swan Lake is even worse. A bit of information here. And I want to conclude it all with a little bit of the giggles and funny
France
for you going to the weekend with good news.
Don't be insulting me.
Russia, Eminem and
Don't be insulting me. No need to attack me on my stream. No need to come here into the chat and immediately attack me, alright? I'm being peaceful. I'm being nice and peaceful today. I'm just looking for some human interaction. No need to be mean.
It is. Russia, before attacking Ukraine, I mean, it had Europe on the palm of its hand. Everybody addicted to gas and oil.
Oh, I saw the drone with a piece of paper. Fully supportive. I should put a stream advertisement on it. I should collect cash money, pay a bunch of drones for Ukraine, and then get a stream advertisement there.
This video is a lot about money, but just it's a coincidence. Now we talk money, but more G7 and Ukraine topics.
Fun fact. The Russian embassy response to this on Twitter was the Western world is used to stealing. Western culture is stealing. So now they're stealing our assets and giving them to Ukraine. Like, ironic? Ironic? Missing self-awareness much? Didn't have your daily dose of washing machines? I don't know.
Because the G7 countries agreed to transfer 50 billion to Ukraine from the interest of frozen Russian assets.
Yeah, projection at its best, really.
This 50 billion from G7 will be a loan. That means Ukraine will pay it back. It will be a long-term loan. But there's a catch. There's a very juicy catch here. You know, this 300 billion that is in the Western countries as Russian assets is frozen.
There would be one valid thing that the Russians could say regarding Western culture being stealing. But it's the Brits, like no one would really be offended.
That's how it is. It's the interest rates. It's positive interest rates. 300 billion generates a huge amount of profits. 3 to 5 billion just generate from just your vast sum. Now, this loan, check this out. This legal structure is so cool. This loan will be backed. The collateral will be the Russian assets, okay? But it will be paid back by these interests, meaning Ukraine will get the loan, but Ukraine doesn't have to immediately start paying it back because the Russian interests gathered from the frozen assets will start paying it back. So this means Russia is very directly paying for the damages done to Ukraine, and they're paying for Ukraine to buy new weapons, to keep their country running.
Oh, there's too. Fuck, I saw an ad about this.
Ukraine can do whatever they want with it.
It was like, damn, Russians, like, you can go and apply to go to your military right now, and then your killing is gonna be sponsored by other Russians. How cool is that? How cool is that?
They will use it for weapons.
Fellow Ruskies paying for Ruskies to be killed. Imagine.
Allowed by leveraging Russian money. Beautiful. Joe Biden and Volodymyr Zelensky have signed a security agreement between the United States and Ukraine. And this is a big, big deal. The United States has many security agreements with many countries, and these countries now, I mean, nobody wants to mess with them anymore, because then you mess with the United States. This includes.
Does it mean Ukraine will be repaying the loans to Russia? Oh, I feel no. Oh, I feel no. Because they're not their assets anymore. So I feel it shouldn't be.
And determine what.
If you had priceless artifacts, you wouldn't want to return them either. That's true, actually. I'm not even. Can't even blame them.
United States, Ukrainian.
Okay, I wouldn't be returning them. Maybe selling them, depending on how much cash money I could be getting. But yeah, they're not getting back to you on some moral bullshit. Oh, they were made in this country. Who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares? See the price tag on them? It's humongous. You're not getting
Look like
that back on some
tomorrow, next
philosophical
decades. This is not
morality
15.
mumbo
West is
jumbo
only getting
bullshit.
more united and stronger behind these
So yeah, I
stories
can't even
for
be
the
angry.
victory. And these stories, they don't end. Good stories all day today. It's Friday. Let's enjoy ourselves. Great news. Military support from Ukraine will become mandatory for all NATO members. Will become mandatory for all NATO members and will be
Hungary exempt.
essentially
Really?
coordinated by the NATO command. So it will unify the military support for Ukraine, which has been quite chaotic, although very efficient.
But I support it. But damn, Hungary exempt.
NATO will put its logistics behind it to be finalized at the NATO summit in
Fucking
Washington.
losers.
But there's a detail. Hungary is exempt.
Yeah, I'm happy to see Orban is losing a bit of power in Hungary.
So all NATO members except for Hungary. Exception was
Still
made,
though, not losing
which is
enough.
stupid and insane if you think about this. And it doesn't end there, my friends. I'll keep bombarding you with good news. Argentina became a member of the Rammstein format. I am happy to welcome Argentina as a new member of the contact group. And this comes from Lloyd
Milei?
Argentina, South America, one of the first South American countries to be so close
By
to
the way, fun fact, I don't know if you knew. Not trying to brag or anything, not trying to brag, but did you know Milei is one tiny part Croatian, really? Now you know, he actually is. I'm not even joking, he actually is. So, Yeah, I just commented on him before too. Yeah, I wish they didn't use Sushko as evidence. I wish they like Googled what he says and then found actual evidence of it, like proper documents, and shown them in the stream instead. Like I understand that Sushko words it better. Maybe like show his tweet, but then show the evidence next to his tweet, because there's place here to also put a proper document. But like when I see him on the screen, I'm immediately like, Max has things where he will just copy whatever he sees in the news without checking it. So yeah, he did have few instances. I follow him on Threads too. He had few instances where he was repeating stuff that was not false, but like, you know how news will sometimes in the title put it wrongly? He does that. Like he reads the title and the title is wrong, but he kind of expands on it a little bit. But because the title is already wrong, like he is wrong too. He's not actually lying. Yeah, misleading. Yeah, that. He's not like actually openly lying to you. But you read his tweet and you get one idea, and then you go to check the source and it's like come on dude, you're being dramatic over some shit or whatever. So yeah, definitely. I wish all of these tweets had something next to them that was actually a proper evidence of the claim. I wish that was that.
Related to NATO and helping Ukraine, thanks to the new government there. And my friends, last night was, we've already talked about money and NATO. Let's talk about bada bing, bada boom a little bit, because it exploded in Crimea all night long. You could almost say Ukraine was banging
What's the latest from Argentina? I have no idea.
Okay, I'll stop. So this is Crimean Peninsula, 3 different locations. It was ATACMS, I don't even need to say this. It was HIMARS, and you have 3 guesses. What is the target? You don't need 3 guesses, you already know. This attack, like every night almost,
big economic challenges.
Of the coming F-16. It's clear.
Not good. New superpower. Yeah.
Ukrainian ATACMS strike methodically.
It's doing very anarcho-capitalist.
Those 3 sites.
Or what is Milei? He is something like that, right? It's doing very that. It's doing very.
Jankoy sector is 300 and is 400.
Very, very much as a country would when being led by.
Russian support has 500 to the Crimean
that
Peninsula. It will be eaten up by HIMARS. But that's not it. Ukraine really pounded Russia yesterday because from 1 a.m. Moscow time.
Yeah, but apparently Milei has a lot of policies that he wants to be pushing for, and we still, because he hasn't been in power that long, we still can't be certain that they're not actually working. Like there's a possibility that they will start working soon. We gotta give him some more time. So maybe we're just gonna give him some more time.
I will butcher Buy Me a Coffee members. If you become a monthly member, There's a difference between supporter and a member there. You become a member, I'll be butchering your name.
Maybe. Look, he is part Croatian. He is part Croatian. And because he is part Croatian, I do feel that he might be actually correct. I feel you guys are being very harmful, very hateful, very discriminatory, alright? When you mock a country led by one of ours. I feel you're being very cruel. Our country has survived way worse.
Thank you for becoming monthly member of Buy Me a
Leave
Coffee.
my man alone.
It's the right thing
Leave
to do
my
on my
man
channel if
alone.
you like the channel.
What is
Until my
he,
next video, my friends,
ideologically?
which will be on Monday. So be back, subscribe. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you, Arthur. Thank you.
This video.
Stop. He is. Anarcho-capitalist, aligning with minarchist and anarcho-capitalist principles. That's what he is. Supports freedom of choice on drug policy, firearms, sex work, same-sex marriage, opposes abortion and euthanasia, though. For what reason? I don't know. Supports Ukraine, advocates closer relations with USA and Israel. Distancing Argentina from geopolitical ties with China. So basically in foreign policy he seems rather alright, but then in domestic policy he seems to be a bit of a clown. That's what I'm seeing. What would be your argument for like not supporting gay marriage? But then supporting, I don't know, sex work. Like what really is that? Slave to EPP? I mean Milei isn't really close to EPP at all. You know what's my thing though with abortion? I was thinking about that. You know what's a problem? I feel that in my mind, I'm like, no, abortion's not getting banned. Like we're just too civilized. I feel it won't get banned. So even when there's someone in politics who is against it, I always am like, unless it's like far right, you know what I mean? And Milei is chaotic, so let's not talk about him. But when it comes to EPP, I'm like, I don't know. I feel they're never actually going to get enough support to ban it. It's such a pain in the ass, true. Like, I'm feeling too confident in Europe's ability to stay civilized. Oh, I didn't ask you your opinion on abortion. I asked you specifically, why would you be opposing gay marriage, but you support, for example, sex work? Like, what would be the argument? The moral question? How's there a different answer that you could give to moral reasoning between the two? I don't feel there is one. Abortions and euthanasia aren't profitable enough industries for an NCAP. No repeat customers. That makes sense, actually. That makes sense. I can agree with that. That makes sense. That was yeah. I feel that was actually smart. I'm gonna show you this. No, it's actually
destroyed
wrong.
Cities, power
Maybe
plants,
not, but we'll
and
see.
critical infrastructure. Many areas in eastern Ukraine
From
are
the
in
giver?
ruins, and an end to the Russian aggression is nowhere in sight.
Giver of
In the
flowers.
midst of the
Government?
war, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is
But
lobbying
it's not.
for help
It's
to
inherently
rebuild his
linked to
country.
the government.
He's asking Germany for aid, but also for more weapons. German Chancellor
Unless,
Olaf
like, are
Scholz
you
is
arguing
promising
that people
further
who are
support,
married
but wants to avoid
should
an
not be,
escalation of
for
the
example,
conflict.
having their entire
Germany and
tax
NATO,
situation
however, must
changed?
be ready to resist a war if
Are we
things
saying
go
that they
wrong.
shouldn't be
On to the point
having
we ask,
different
between fear and
rights when it
deterrence,
comes
can
to
Europe
adopting
defend itself?
children than people who are not married? Because I guess if you could totally
to this week's To The Point.
delete
I'm
marriage
Javier
from any
Aguilas.
sort
It's good
of
to have you with us.
importance
Let's meet
when it comes to
today's
government
guest. Nana
policies,
Brink
I
is a journalist
guess
with
I could even
Germany's
agree with
cable
that.
media. She's specialized in domestic and security
Wouldn't be too
policy
against it.
and
Wouldn't be too against it.
transatlantic
Like whether or not
relations.
you're married, it doesn't
Daniel
change
Grössler
anything
is the chief
in the way
political
the government
editor for
behaves
Germany's
towards you. I could see that.
Süddeutsche Zeitung in
I could see
Berlin,
that.
closely following the German chancellery. He was also a correspondent in Moscow. And Roman Goncharenko is my DW colleague.
We ain't watching the entirety, by the way. I have to go.
DW's Russian service.
I have to go.
Usually sees him
So I'm gonna link
here
you the
at our
video.
table today. He is joining
This
us
is your
from
homework.
To all of you,
No, it's not
welcome.
your homework.
Thank you for
I'm
being
gonna
with
think
us.
of your
I'd like to
homework.
start
I'm
with
gonna
you,
give you
Daniel.
something
Things
cool for
have
the
been
homework.
moving for Ukraine in the last few days.
Marriage
We
is
saw
a civil
Volodymyr
construct.
Zelensky addressing the German parliament
How
in
to
person
separate
for
it
the
from the
first
government.
time
I
in a
don't know, it makes no
conference to
sense.
secure aid. We saw what seems to be
Like, for example, my brother married his
dollar
wife
loan on the way from the G7 countries. Are
because they
Ukraine's
wanted
allies
to pay less
finally
taxes
doing
in
enough?
Germany.
Well, I think they will, if they are
So they
doing
got
enough, we will
married to be
know,
paying less
the
taxes,
minute
which is like
Ukraine
inherently
wins this
linked
war.
to
At
the
least
way the
Russia
government
not
is
winning
behaving
this war.
towards
I would
them,
say,
right?
They are getting the message. They know
But I
they
feel
have
like
to
if you
do
wanted
more,
to
and
remove the
situation
marriage
now
from the
is getting
government
better,
fully,
I
you would
would
be
say.
removing shit like that, really, wouldn't you?
Is also
Like something
very,
like that would need to go,
interesting
and then the
right now
whole
is that
thing with, you know,
Ukraine seems to be getting more freedom, more
which
combat
couples are
freedom,
allowed
and
to
I'd like
adopt
to
children,
ask
which
you,
couples are
what
not
do you
allowed
make
to adopt
of
children,
these
and shit like that.
decisions? For
It would
instance,
all
the
need
US
to be looked
lifting the
into.
ban for weapons for the controversial Azov brigade and those liberties that Ukraine seems to be getting.
So
Yeah,
I think
there's a
that's
bunch
very important for
of
Germany
ways
because
actually
it was a
that being
hurdle
married
for
makes
Germany
the
to
government
send
treat you different
weapons
than
that they're
people who are not
reaching
married.
far
I
into
don't
the
even
Russian
know how we
territory,
could
and that was a
completely
very
remove it.
crucial point for the whole
Should Dobson be allowed to marry his fuck robot?
All this while we keep hearing bad news from the front lines. Roman, how do you assess the
I
current
mean, realistically,
situation
man
in
is streaming
Ukraine?
on Kick.
Dania seems to believe
Who
that
else
things
is
are
he
getting
gonna
better,
marry?
at least from the side of support. But does this situation in the front line
Like, yeah,
justify
sure,
a doubling down on
he should
support
be
for
allowed to find his happiness.
Well, I came
Only
back
if the
from
fuck
Ukraine
robot
just
is
a few
programmed to
days
be
ago,
Christian.
and I was also in the city of Kharkiv, the second largest city of Ukraine, close to the Russian border, which is probably a city that is most hardly hit by Russian missiles. And there has been a change there. People
Bro,
I've
I'm
been
having like a
talking to,
whole
told
thing
me
with
that,
not knowing
they do
if a
feel
Christian
that since the West, the United
fuckbot
States, but also
would
other countries
consider itself
have given Ukraine green light
a
to
sin.
use their
Like, do you
weapons to
think?
hit Russian
Do you think if we
military targets
genuinely
inside
had a
Russia, just
fuckbot,
over
imagine
the
like a
border,
proper fuckbot
that,
AI,
the Kharkiv people of Kharkiv,
and then you
over a
program
million,
it to be like properly
can sleep
Christian,
better
not
at
like
night,
those
so there are
trash
less
Christians, but like
bombs,
properly
shells, and
Christian?
drones flying.
Can you
Of course, Russia keeps on
imagine,
hitting
like,
the
the
city,
moment it reaches any
the
sort of
intensity is not
self-awareness?
as it has been in the past weeks and months.
Would
So
it be like,
there is a change
shit,
there.
my
What is
entire
important, I think, for our
existence
discussion is to
is a
understand that
crime
Western help
against
and all
everything
those
humanity
red
is,
lines that
or
were crossed or could be crossed in the coming weeks,
would it go down
that we
the
are only
line
talking about
of,
it because
you know,
there was real
trade wives?
danger of
And
Russia
you know
making
how they talk
significant
about sex and
advances,
marriage?
on the front line.
Because
So,
trade wives will
there
very
was
often
real
be
fear
the types
that,
of people
the,
that you do not want to be
Ukrainian
listening
lines
to when it comes to
would
sex
break
and
and
marriage.
Russians maybe
I specifically
could
remember this one. She's
encircle
called
large Ukrainian formations of Ukrainian
transformed
troops. And this is still on
wife?
the table. I would agree
Something
with Daniel
like that?
the situation is improving slowly since the
Basically,
United States
her idea
finally
was that
approved that bill and
in order
weapons
to
are
make your
flowing now.
husband happy,
But on the
you
other
should be
hand,
presenting
Ukrainians
yourself
are still
as
outnumbered and
basically
outgunned.
a sex toy whenever he needs
as
one.
we discussed,
So
is
it
a
doesn't
reaction
matter
to
if
a
you,
situation
a
in
woman,
the
are in
front
the
line,
mood or
and
not.
this
The
support
only
has
thing that
been long in the
matters is that
making. German
he wants to
Chancellor
be
Olaf
having
Scholz
some
has led
sex,
Germany to
and you're
become
there,
Ukraine's
and you're
biggest supporter
the
after the
person that
US,
he is
but it
supposed to
didn't
be
happen
using to
overnight.
get
The
sex,
Chancellor
right?
has been
So it's
harshly
like your
criticized
role.
in
So I
and
wonder
out of
if
his
like
country.
Christian sex bot
Observers
will be
say he
falling
lacks
down into
charisma,
that.
but what's
Not
worse,
into the my
Chancellor's
existence
roadmap
is a
often
sin,
unclear. He
thinking, but more
hesitates
so
too
my
often and only
existence
seems to react under pressure
serves
when others
the
have
man.
already stepped forward.
But then
It all started with these
that's a
words.
problem because that's not really Christianity.
February
That's the
24,
trad
2022
wife
marks a turning point in the history of our continent.
conservative
Schultz's
bastardization
usual
of
motto
Christianity.
was, "Don't rush things." His
So
thoughts
really,
are with
I
those
can't
afraid
do
of the
wonder
war
about it now.
escalating.
I wish we
And
could
he
like
has been
make a bunch of
steadfast in
sex
following
bots,
this guiding principle.
give them super ultra fancy AI,
As the Chancellor,
put them
I
in
am
two groups,
responsible for ensuring
give
that
them
no
different
child
types of
born in
propaganda,
Germany today
just
will
like see
ever
what happens.
experience war in our
You could
country.
probably do that if you had like the fancy chat GPT thing. You could probably do that. You could probably figure out like what it would think about itself. That's gonna be my chat GPT conversation for today. I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna ask him.
Weapons to Ukraine than any other EU country.
The anal power suck.
Just recently, the
Before marriage.
that
But then
German
would it count its own marriage with a man as real marriage because Jesus had two souls?
This had been strictly off limits.
So yeah, I guess you would always be able to just go into the anal power
for
socket.
Kiev, but always in close coordination with
version of feminism,
allies.
indeed.
Is the Chancellor being too reluctant or playing with
Having
fire?
the rights and possibility to cover each other.
Daniel, we just saw those long deliberations.
Human rights was the topic when we realized you can't visit your beloved one in hospital. Yeah, that too. Like it's inherently a government thing, right? Like that's not just a Christianity thing. That's inherently a government thing. You would not be able to pull marriage out of the government affairs without pulling out basically everything that makes marriage, really.
We have to understand that
because otherwise it's just about a priest,
the German
like,
chancellor considers
I don't know,
himself to be a
talking
man
some shit for a day.
taking dramatic
I
decisions.
don't really know it matters.
Because 2 years ago, it
You
was
can do
unthinkable,
civil
3
unions
years ago it was
contracts without
unthinkable
marrying
that
there. Yeah,
Germany
you
would
can.
support Ukraine in this situation. But he will
He just like
always
go
say,
and
"We
sign.
are,
I know quite a
as
lot of people who
medium-sized
did it.
country,
They didn't go
too
to have a
weak,
church wedding. They
to
just
take
went and
decisions
signed.
that are really leading, that
Oh,
are
so I have
that
some
are
tea.
more
I know a
far-reaching
man.
than,
He got married
for example,
recently.
the United States would take. So it
For
was clear
the
that he would
second
take a
time
decision
in the
regarding,
church.
for example, Western
It's not
weapons
supposed to
being
happen.
used for
He
targets
just
in
got
Russia,
married.
but not before the United
Like
States.
church married, properly
Go
church
as
married,
far as to say
officially,
that the German
second
policy
time.
is more or less decided in Washington. At
And
this
the priest was like,
Yes, I would say
he was
to
asked
a
like, why is
degree,
this allowed?
yes,
Because you're
because
not
in
supposed to
contrast
be
to the
allowed
French
to do that.
president, the
Jesus
chancellor
said
would
forever,
never
like,
take
why
a
are you marrying the
decision
man the second
that
time?
is not,
And he was like,
not-
well,
that he
sometimes
did not
the
talk
situation
about,
is
with
different, and
President
sometimes
Biden,
like
that
we
he
just
thinks
like
is
to look at
more
each specific
far-reaching than
situation and
President
make decisions.
would take a decision.
And then we looked into the man, and
Now,
it
if we
turns out that
hear
he's
Scholz's
relatives
words,
with the
Roman,
bishop.
it seems to be
So
like
it's
the
because of
fear is
that.
to get Germany
It's because of
directly
that. The
involved
specific
in the war, but the
circumstances
red lines,
was
as
the
you
fact that he
mentioned,
was
have been
relative.
pushed over and over again. Is that still
Oh,
a realistic
there still
concern
is
given
a Jesus
Russia's
AI
reactions
stream.
to
There
all
still
this
is.
so far?
Terminator,
Well,
bang,
from
bang.
the point of view of the German
My
Chancellor,
fuck
yes,
body
it is
chick
a
is
concern,
kind
but
of not into
those
anal.
lines are moving,
Understandable.
they are being crossed,
The Bible is so
and I
riddled
think
with
it's
incongruences
not
and
the last
paradoxes
red
to
line
pretty
that
much
we've
every
seen being
topic. Yeah,
crossed
that too.
just a few weeks ago with that decision
That too,
to
now
allow
that you say
Ukraine
it.
to hit Russian targets. We were talking about, and we're still talking here
Now
in
I wonder
Europe
if you
about
take
the
an
possibility of
AI and you
sending,
feed it the Bible, but like
military trainers
clean
to
Bible,
Ukraine from NATO
no
countries.
outside
President Macron of
analysis,
France
no
was
cultural
the first one to
anything.
mention it.
You take the
Baltic
AI
states,
and you
Poland,
feed it
maybe
the
some
entirety of the
Scandinavian
Bible
states could follow. There is
in
no
all
decision
languages
yet, but it's
existing.
part of the debate. And,
So it would
when
get like the
Macron first,
clearest
voiced,
interpretation.
this idea,
And
there
that would
was a
already be
very
cultural
harsh
shit,
reaction
wouldn't
in
it? You
Germany
would
from,
need to feed
Chancellor
it to the
Scholz.
AI
He
in
said,
the
"No
OG
way,
language.
there is no way NATO
You
countries
take
are
the
getting
OG
involved
language
in
Bible.
there." I think
Only
he
and
has
solely the
changed his
OG
position
language Bible.
slightly,
You
but I
feed
still
it to
cannot
the AI.
imagine him giving a go
And then when you
for
ask him
Bundeswehr, for the German
questions
army,
about
to
religion,
train inside Ukraine.
I wonder
it is
how
still
he
a very
would answer.
sensitive issue, especially after the EU elections.
Certain Russian leader is really into anal.
Phrase that it is
Yeah, I too. I
unimaginable many
heard
times
that
before.
he is
Let's see
getting
how that
butt
one plays
fucked
out. There is
by
one
Winnie the
ideological
Pooh
red line, if you
recently.
will, but there's also a financial one. Nana, the president of the Kiel
I don't
Institute
know
for
the
the World
details.
Economy
It's
has
just
questioned Germany's handling of the
big is
economy
true.
and what it
Big is
means
true.
for the war in Ukraine. He says Germany's
Hey,
fiscal
yeah,
policy,
Anil, how's life?
that is, of course, very
It's okay,
cautious,
nice.
if
Hey,
you
yo,
will,
hey, yo,
is
how's
a danger
everything
for
going?
Europe. Do you agree with that assessment?
Is I got AI Jesus was streaming when I went live on Twitch because I opened Twitch and he was there. I don't know if he's like I don't know how long he streams, but he was around when I was around.
For the Ukraine, it's not enough. And the other thing is you have to think about your own security.
He was around.
And you
he was
can't cover this
around.
with the current
Old Testament I did.
so to say. So they think
I did
there's
read it.
no option just to
I read
lift
the entirety of the Bible. There was a part of my life when I wanted to be
I don't see it, but I think it's necessary.
religious.
We also
The
have to think
idea
what
was I
Germans
want to be
actually want.
anything.
Daniel,
I
we
want to
just
be
saw the
religious to any
European
sort of a way.
elections,
It wasn't even like the
playing out in
nerd
Germany
point.
with
It
two
was like
political parties that
I
are
am
critical
really
to
terrified
Germany's
of the
stance
idea
on
of
Ukraine,
dying.
gaining
So I don't
very
want to
large
be terrified
support,
of the idea
as
of
compared
dying.
to,
So what I'm gonna do
former
is I'm gonna
elections.
be
We're talking about, among others, the
learning
far-right
a
AfD
lot
party.
about
Does that
religions
mean
until
that
I
at
find
least
one that
parts
is
of
actually
the
proper.
German
That is the
population
Quran
are
then too.
maybe even siding with Russia?
I was reading
Yes,
a
I would say
shitload
there is
of
not
stuff. I
too
remember
big
a
portion
strong
of the
impact
society
being made
siding
by a
with
Hinduist
Russia. I would say
on
in
the
Eastern
9gag
Germany,
chatting
that is
app who
really
was
the case.
teaching me
Some
about the process of reincarnation.
For Putin than for Zelensky.
Didn't
It
really
was
work.
really a worrying sign
But
that
still interesting.
far-right AfD members of
Can we
Bundestag
mistranslate
did
it?
not listen to
Here and there,
President
yeah, I
Zelensky.
could. I mean,
while
I
he was
felt that
speaking at the
translating it in
Bundestag,
different languages
and I
would
think
be.
they
But you know
think
what's the
that
problem,
was
though? You know what's
something
the
that is
problem?
well perceived,
This is bullshit.
especially
This
in
language
Eastern
thing is
Germany.
bullshit.
So
Oh,
yes,
it's
there is a
mistranslated.
certain influence,
It
even by
has
Russian
inconsistencies
propaganda,
in itself
parts of
without the
society. On
language
the other
issues.
hand, it's
Like talking shit about
20%,
the Old
20%
Testament,
for
fair. Have you
AfD
read the
and
New
the
Testament?
left-wing
Read the New
Wagenknecht
Testament.
party
Listen to this. Read the New Testament for me. And what you will be doing when you read the New Testament is I want you to have a piece of paper and I want you to write it down where and when Jesus was born. Because that shit has inconsistencies. That shit. That I can't remember which one is it of the prophets, but he says the completely different location, right? Like it's not even about mistranslations when it's put in a different language. It's that it's incorrect in and of itself. It's not about when you put it into English, some things can't be translated properly. No, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. Just fucking debunk itself.
I would say that's
which is why I wonder if you feed it to AI, what will it say? Because I wonder what would be like the clearest possible way for it to interpret what it read when it's filled with inconsistencies. And then I wonder if it would be able to interpret it properly while you are butt fucking it. That would be interesting to ask. TLDR on the war, recently going not good really, not good. But Ukraine is signing a lot of new deals. They got the allowance to strike into Russian territory with Western weapons, which was a big thing, and gave people way more peace than what they had previously, so that's something. Not a lot of movement on the actual lines on the battlefield, but standing stable. We're standing stable so far. Why is Twitch suggesting hentai streams? You know why? Because I follow Invader V. I follow Invader V because I genuinely think she's entertaining. But because I follow Invader V, I get her weird friends recommended to me. Because like Twitch doesn't separate a woman with an ass talking about actual entertaining shit and a woman with an ass talking about boring shit. So it just puts them into the woman with an ass group. So then whenever I watch her, I get her weird friends recommended to me, even though I'm not really interested in them. Yeah, it is on what her followers follow. Yeah. Like it's not because they're her friends, but it's because they're like one big group. And it's kind of annoying. It's kind of annoying, really. But yeah.
So he referred to the time at the
but yeah, I guess that's where the hentai streams are coming from too. Because a lot of her viewers are thirsty little bitches.
It seems to be there could be
the whole things necessarily need to follow logic.
After that,
what if logic is only something we feeble humans have to deal with?
Is in a position to return to those negotiations that were.
What would be your example of a holy thing not following logic?
Ukraine is preparing a huge peace conference in
like
Switzerland,
inconsistencies in someone's place of birth, I feel are not illogical.
Optimists, including the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, view as a possible beginning of a path
I don't feel logic
to peace,
itself
as they say.
Is like the problem there.
In Ukraine, I think
when you say a man can't be born in two places, the same man cannot be born at two places in two different times.
So it could be one of many
I don't really know how much this has to do with logic
and in the end,
on any deeper level, and how much is just, you're just pointing out that something is fucking wrong. It's just a fucking wrong thing,
that it has occupied since 2022, including
like it's not like it's Jesus turning water into wine. You know what I mean? It's not like it's that. And then you're like, well, logically, if you think logically about a situation, you can't really turn water into wine. And then someone else is like, well, maybe you could, maybe that would actually be possible. And then people like research if it's possible to make water into wine. Talking about that, I had an obsidian about it.
Also millions of people.
Somewhere here.
One thing is the path to peace, but the other one is a possible path to war. It's one thing to defend Ukraine, but what if Europe
dividing
has
it
to
kind of
defend
story.
itself
This is
from
my
Russian
obsidian
attacks?
on
Europe
Jesus
is
turning
currently
water into
undergoing a
wine.
rhetorical rearmament. Resilience and
Miracles are widely
awareness are in
believed
everybody's lips these
around
days,
the time
but
of
what is
Jesus.
the real
Do I
condition
need
of
to
Europe's armies?
place it like this so it shows it properly to me?
Despite 100 billion euros
Oh yeah, I
of
want
special
this. I want
funds,
this
the
like
German
nice and
armed
yellow.
forces are poorly equipped. They are short
Gods
on
and
arms,
demigods such as
equipment,
Heracles,
and above all,
Asclepius,
personnel.
or Isis
The
were
German
all
army is
thought to
aging
have
and
healed
shrinking.
the sick
The
and
defense
overcome
minister
death,
is pushing for
right?
change.
And then you had Apollonius of Tyana, 1st century Greek philosopher and a religious leader, one of the most famous miracle workers of his time. And he was already like writing about people at the time able to do miracles, right? So he was saying that the miracles of Jesus are not really unique at all, and that you had other gods doing the same shit, stuff like that. Oh yeah, and this too, kind of like this. The account is taken as evidence of Jesus' approval of merit in earthly celebrations, and has also been used as an argument against teetotalism, which is the practice or promotion of total personal abstinence from the consumption of alcohol. So the idea is basically, oh yeah, because Jesus was okay with people drinking at his wedding, because he made water into wine at the wedding, because he was okay with turning water into wine at the wedding, that means that he was okay with wine. He was okay with wine consumption, right?
And what they so far simply didn't want.
I think they can do
By the way,
a lot,
I have to go.
or they can't do a lot, and we see because they are poorly.
But yeah, that's basically all I have on it. The image is gorgeous. This is actually Tintoretto's image, and really fun thing, okay? Really fun thing. What separates his images from most other painters who did religious imagery is that he like places Jesus just here. Jesus is just there in the crowd. There's a lot of people in the room. There's a lot of things going on in the room, and then Jesus is just a tiny little man there. Tintoretto was doing the thing where in his imagery the subject, which was Jesus, was not shown as like the main person there. He was actually shown as just, you know, one of the guys, just one of the dudes there. That's that. This was Tintoretto, by the way.
Daniel, Germany's defense
This was
minister
him.
says he wants
Yeah,
Germany
I'm
to
gonna
be,
give you a
quote,
link.
combat
I'm gonna
ready
give you a
for
link.
2029 or by 2029. What
Here it
does
is.
that mean?
This is him. Really cool.
That
I was
means
reading on
that,
this while I was writing in
we need a lot
what's the
more
word?
money to invest,
Obsidian.
in the
Specifically.
army. I think that 2%
Was it
reached now
here where I
2%
saw the
defense
painting,
spending.
or was it somewhere else? I
we
don't
will
even know.
have to
The Last
invest much
Supper.
more money than
This is
we
the one
are
I'm
now.
thinking of. This is the
And
most
I
famous
agree,
one.
we will
See
have
this?
to have,
See how
different
like
rules.
lively
I don't
the
think that
entire
this
image
coalition
is?
right now is
And then
ready to
Jesus is
take
just
the
there.
decisions that have
But
to
like,
be
see how
taken,
there's life
to
everywhere
prepare this
else in
country,
the image?
for a possible war. I think
How
that will be the
interesting
job
is
of,
this?
the next
He was unique in that sort of a way. It's not like, you know, you have in your mind right now the most famous image of the Last Supper, right? You know how like the table is perfectly straight, and like you're looking directly at it, and Jesus is just there in the middle, and you have like all of the apostles next, and that's that. And then the Last Supper, they have people serving the food and everything. They have the Holy Spirit. They have it all. It's such a cool thing. So yeah, really into it. Look him up. I love him. Also, I have to go. I genuinely have to go. I'm going to eat my pizza.
I would doubt that.
I'm going to go to sleep because I have to work tomorrow. I have to work in the morning.
They also doubt that. That's
Yeah,
why
Nachtwatch. Yeah, Nightwatch.
in their
Rembrandt?
defense and keep on doing so. So things will have to change. I absolutely agree with what the colleagues have been saying. But Daniel has just said that Germany will have to do more.
It is Rembrandt.
Just
I was
an
correct.
example.
I was correct.
Germany has decided to
fucking
station
IQ.
one brigade
But yeah,
in
basically like that. Like a lot of subjects in the image, right? The Rembrandt was doing a thing. I can't remember the name of the thing.
Fully operational.
What's the name of the thing he was doing? I used to be really into researching art that had this particular style because I loved it in high school. I loved it.
Germany will have to change and
one day I'm going to think of it. The specific style of doing the light, where it's like really dramatic. So you have a big contrast. Chiaroscuro, thank you. Specific thing with like big contrast between the light and the dark parts of the image, so it looks really dramatic when you look at it overall. It's fucking great. Also, I have to be seeing you Monday. I don't know when, because I don't know when I work on Monday. So I'll be seeing you. I'll be seeing you. Is Caravaggio the one?
Could you
briefly explain
not leaving?
The Swedish model is theirs voluntarily. No, it's not voluntary. They're all
is Caravaggio the one? Who is the one?
Male are reached via
who was killed?
And they have to fulfill it, and then they will just pick the the best ones. So they have.
Yeah, it's this is the one. This is the one. Fuck, not he got killed. He killed a man. He killed a man. I misremember it. He killed a man because basically he had his favorite prostitute. He had his favorite prostitute. Is that the one? Yeah. Ranucci Tomasoni. Yeah. He had his favorite prostitute, and another dude was also having the same woman as his favorite prostitute. So the two of them fought, and then he killed the other man. And if I can find this,
there was an expectation
if I can find this,
have been done, that this is not enough. And I think it is
because I read once the story of how exactly he killed him.
That is preparing the next step then, because then we have a
what
system
was the man's
we can
name?
build on.
Fuck, I lost it
the
now.
next step, probably, if things go as we have to expect things to go,
Let me look in the article.
Military service, actually to go back to a system.
No, once. It's only once mentioned.
But I don't know how long this will take.
I read a story once about the way that he killed him.
Highly unpopular, as we've seen in other countries. The question is, how much in denial do you think are people in Germany still that a war is a serious threat and a very possible scenario?
I think people are in denial, even though
and now I want to say it. So before I leave, I'm going to tell you the story. But I don't want to tell it because I'm not sure.
Turning point, a completely new situation, and people were impressed by the speech. Nothing really followed. I think
who the hell knows? For next stream, that's your homework. Find me how he killed him.
So I think this is
find me what happened. Find me what happened. Because I'm pretty sure, I am pretty sure he was stabbed somewhere around his genital area. I am pretty sure, unless I'm mixing it up with another murder case that happened like real long ago and was also around an artist. I'm gonna have to look into my notes. I have notes on this shit somewhere in written form. Before I was doing Obsidian, I was doing the same shit as Obsidian, like this, but I was doing it in like notebooks. So I have notes on all of that in my notebooks, like a fucking loser nerd that I was in high school. And yeah, I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it one day. Going offline, all right? See you on Monday. Thank you for joining. I will tell you when we stream on Monday, when I learn my shift on Monday. Stay healthy, stay strong, go drink water, go give cash money to Dylan Burns. He fucking needs it, all right?